Purchase a home with only 2% down and no mortgage insurance, paperless loan approval, quick closes, and low rates.
How's your life going,
720-895-0500.
Pretty good, busy. How are you?
Now, we're on,
every day, choose AIM for the mortgage.
even when we're off the air, we're on social media live.
$300 now, the opportunity for another $1,000. Call for details. Time is running out.
So business is good. Now, that's bad, but it's good. You know,
Yeah.
it's good. I mean, obviously, we're always going to have a need for treatment, always. So it's good that your business is good because the way you feel and how you do it.
It's an unfortunate, necessary.
I'm just hoping we're doing our part getting people who need treatment.
I think we're starting to get it tuned. I think it just took also, we had our media guys step in so they have a little more bandwidth to kind of look at accounts and how to tweak them, and they have that more of that expertise on this kind of end. So I think it's starting to really.
I think the messaging. Dan, did you want this?
Yeah, I'll get that. I just want to get everything started going here.
You've been staying busy, Julian?
Absolutely. Everything in your world.
They are very good.
I put up new cameras at our house over the weekend.
Oh, yeah?
Arlo. God, they're expensive, but I got to tell you, man, there is no better camera I've ever dealt with. Ah, come on, Tommy. Welcome to the show. My name's Mark Major, and as you know, it's the only show of its kind. Tommy Boy's getting ready to walk through the door any second, but I gotta tell you something. This deal in Vegas, this deal in Las Vegas was absolutely, positively the worst thing in the world to wake up to. Tom, I swear, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up to this because I forgot to turn the TV off.
You know what, though? Here's the worst part. The worst part is, I didn't say, "Oh no, that can't be true." I mean, what I mean is, it did not surprise me. I think that is the worst thing that I can say about this. That it did not. I went, "Oh, another one." It broke my heart. I mean, thinking of people at a concert and being shot. I mean, I'm not talking about that part of it. I'm talking about the news part of it. It was like, "Oh, again." Not that. Can't be true. What? Somebody actually did that? I don't have those thoughts anymore. It's like, oh, another one.
You know,
isn't that weird? It's not a surprise. That's the weird thing. See, if someone said a meteorite hit Vegas or hit the desert and is filling up with water, the Grand Canyon, then I'd say, wow. But here, even though it's disgusting and heartbreaking and evil, it's not, wow, really?
It's incredible. It's the largest mass shooting.
But that's the part that bothers me, is that I'm no longer surprised.
Well, most people aren't. The Dow's up 80, for example. I mean, if this happened, 15 years ago, the stock market would be down.
You're right, Mark. The stock market reacts to everything. You're absolutely right. It's almost like they're saying, okay, we'll get through it. And that's okay to say that, but there's something really so wrong with this acceptance. So anyway, we don't plan on having a theme show on tragedy in the news. This show is not a news show. It's not of course, it's not a political show at all, and this is really not political in any way, shape, or form. This is hateful. This is disgusting. This unites all of us against hate, against violence, against, okay, now, against anything to do with this. Okay, one other thing I wanted to say. Automatic guns are outlawed. Okay, so this guy obviously was breaking the law. They're outlawed. I mean, I heard it, and you all heard it right on the tape. It's right? It was that kind of thing.
Definitely fully automatic.
Like that. Oh, my God, it was terrible. I can't even imagine. Do you know, though, when I go places, I think about that, Mark. I was at the movies the other night, and I really thought about it. I really thought about it. I thought, what would I do right now? I think about it in places I normally don't think about things anymore. And it's not because of this way before this happened. It was just last week. So as I said, we're not a political show. We're not a news show. We are a consumer information show, which is news about consumer stuff. But here's what I want to offer to you. We will have any substantial updates. Okay, any substantial updates we will run. Brutus is keeping an eye out for those. He'll get them to us when we have something. And then any new news we will have. But also, I think many times when something like this happens, people feel talking about it is a catharsis. It's a way of dealing with it. If you have anything to say, you're welcome to say it. Anything. Now, of course, I want you to call me with your problems, with your questions, with your complaints, with your concerns about anything, and we're going to help you. And I'm also at Troubleshooter.com. I put up a video, what I call a proof of performance, about our very first screaming deal where we bought something live on the air for someone and saved them tons of money and got them a better product. Please read about it. Mark's also promoting that. If you want to buy anything live on the air, we're going to almost guarantee you, of course there is no charge for this, so if our guarantee doesn't come through, you lose nothing. We're going to almost guarantee you that if you're absolutely ready to buy, we're going to take a shot at it live on the air. You get your best deal, and we will beat it. What did you want to say, Mark?
Well, back to that real quick. The amazing part about this one is it's a 64-year-old white dude. And generally, it's not a white dude. I mean, that's just how it is.
Well, normally it's not. Well,
the Batman thing.
Well, we had the guy in Washington shooting.
That's right.
We had the guy shooting in Washington. All of those people playing ball, the senators and congressmen.
It's weird if you look back over time. A lot of the serial killers were white dudes.
I think all killers span all. I mean, look what happened in Sandy Hook. That young man.
28 kids dead.
Look what happened here at Columbine or at the theater. I don't think you can stereotype mass murderers.
No,
I mean,
you can't.
No.
Now, if you actually, if it's called terrorism, yes.
Well,
I don't know.
You had McVeigh, I would call that terrorist.
I think that was domestic terrorism. You're right.
So I don't even think we've gotten to a point now where I don't think you can pin terrorism or murder or mass murder on any type.
Well, geez, every example we just gave is a white dude. Maybe it's the white dude.
Right. I don't know what it is. It's a thought process. It's a thought process. I mean, first of all, these people do not, we can also, this is what they have in common, for sure. I don't think one person will deny this. No value to life. And why do I say that? Because not only do they take others, they have no qualms taking their own life.
Yeah.
So obviously, there is no value to life.
Which is a defect in itself.
In other words, I think he started out knowing he will die, and many people will die. So I think it's safe to say that all of these terrorists and murderers put no value on life. They don't. No value on life. That's a commonality. What else is common? I would say they are resolute. Okay? More resolute than any person in our world, in the normal world. You have soldiers that go to war, they're resolute, but how resolute? I mean, you know, you still want to defend yourself, you still want to help yourself. I think this resolute, angry, and non-value to life. If we had to give commonalities to this, and I know people will say, well, guns. Well, of course, but you know, and in this case, it was an illegal firearm. You're not allowed to have automatic weapons. All right, let's move on. I'm going to take calls on anything. If you do want to make a comment, I'm not going to keep you from making a comment when there is major news like this. If you feel the need to say something, this is the original town hall. But if you have a problem, a question, or a complaint, please give us a call. And of course, if you want to challenge us to buy something for you on the air cheaper than you can get it, first, you have to want to buy now. Second, you have to have the best price you can get. The price is so good that you've got, and you're ready to buy at that price, so automatically, if we get you a better price, you'll buy. And then we have a special guest I'm going to introduce coming up. A very special guest.
I just read something I got to bring up.
Go ahead.
This guy's dad, okay, the shooter's dad, was a serial bank robber who was diagnosed as a psychopath.
Really?
Yeah.
You just found that out?
Yeah, they have the old wanted by the FBI photo.
My goodness
a
gracious.
Serial bank robber.
Now, as we know, at about 10:08 last night from the Mandalay Bay Hotel, he started shooting an automatic weapon at a crowd of 22,000 concert goers. He was there since the 28th and watched this crowd for 2 nights. He's Stephen Paddock, 64, had a place, a nice house in Mesquite, Nevada, and that's about 80 miles from Vegas. And he was the only one, and he was found dead. They say he was monitoring the hallway somehow with cameras or something.
That's crazy.
And killed himself just before police came in. He knew when to do it. This guy thought this out. He wasn't some wild, crazed person. Well, he was, but you know what I mean. He was very calculated. And then they said that he was killed just before midnight. Now they're saying what, near 60 dead, 400 to 500 injured.
I'm sure that number's going to keep climbing. Those are big caliber bullets, man.
Jason Aldean was on stage. It was the Route 91 concert.
I think it was the last song of the night.
Called Harvest Festival. Route 91 Harvest Festival. It's horrendous. Horrendous. Flights were temporarily halted even. And then nearly 24 flights were diverted. This is how serious and scary this thing was. They didn't know what was going on. All right, AJ wants to talk about Richmond Homes. He has a follow-up. Then we have other consumer calls. Here's the number, 303-713-TALK. 303-713-8255. You can get right through. If you'd like to speak about the events of the day, you're welcome to do that as well. To get it off your chest, to maybe say something that will help us get through this. We also have a very special guest that kind of plays into the signs of the time right now. We'll talk about that coming up.
Farmers Insurance.
Got a stalled vehicle downtown on southbound I-25 near 8th Avenue, block
Okay,
the
let's
left
see.
lane. Courtesy patrols on the scene. Miles.
Do you have cameras up at your,
God,
you should get one of these ROs. You're right. Look at this.
Outside of Hampton, just east of Santa Fe as well. Up in the high country, both
This is how easy.
So no monitoring you gotta pay, like for monthly software or anything?
No, not on this one. It'll store 30 days.
Well, you got an outside one.
Oh yeah, these are all 100% weatherproof.
Weather forecast. About
Well, sure.
1% chance of showers this
You gotta have power
afternoon.
tonight.
No.
Right now, overcast.
No, these will last up to 6 months on one battery charge.
You're kidding me.
No, that's what I'm saying. They're incredible.
Holy.
The whole thing's like this big.
How much are they?
I got 4 of them plus the base station. Okay, and remember, everything saves to the cloud. So if someone come in and steals everything, you have them stealing them on here.
Are they motion activated?
Yeah, yeah. And you can set all kinds of things, alerts. But listen, you can hear the water.
Wow.
So
yours is probably always sitting because they can probably see the water flowing there, huh?
Yeah, but I set the sensitivity so it doesn't set it off. $600 for 4 of them. Well,
But you got, and that's with base station. So
that's,
if you just did 2,
you can get 2 at the base station for about $450, I think. $400.
They come with different colored sleeves.
Yeah, so like
I know, I saw it on the tree, but I knew you put it right above
you
the old
can
one.
barely see it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, only because I knew there was a brown sleeve to it.
can you do 2 different locations, like, say, my cabin in there?
Oh, yeah.
You would need 2 base stations.
2 base stations. Yeah.
There's a complaint that Doug was kind of diesel. I think we should put it on the air.
Hell yeah, put it on there.
Okay.
What's that?
Complaint against the referrals number. Oh, I gotta make sure.
No, you're right. That's super clear, boy. So you can kind of hide them then without, you don't need power.
You can't see mine in the tree.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's no power. They go up to about 100 feet.
How long do they last?
6 months.
That's crazy.
6
How
months.
much does that cost?
I got a little over 6
Not
Arlo.
Arlo?
It is Arlo. It's Arlo Pro. It's the brand new Arlo. The old Arlo, the battery didn't last as
I can
long.
put it in my hangar. I need broadband though. That's my problem. I need broadband.
If you don't have broadband, you can't do shit.
Right.
But what I love about these, even if they steal the cameras, you have them stealing the cameras.
Yeah.
It's not like they take the hard drive with them. It's not there.
So it goes to the cloud. How long does it stay up there or whatever?
The free subscription that I have is up to 5 cameras. I have 4, and it saves everything for 30 days. So the next one up for $100 a year is up to 10 cameras, and it stores everything for, I want to say, 3 months. I don't think you'd ever have to. You would know something happened within 30 days. You would.
So all these people, they put in the monitoring system, they wired the house and everything. That's all gone.
It's all gone, man. This Arlo kills it.
And is that a rechargeable battery or is
Yeah.
that?
I have an Arlo at my house in Bonnie Gray, but
Here's how the
it's only
inside
on the
one.
front porch, just to look at people at the front door.
The inside one. So like I said, it's about this
It's
big.
so clear.
It's got, you put it like wherever you want it, and it's a magnet. So basically the camera just sticks to the magnet. So when you do got to pull it down and recharge, you just pull it down and recharge it.
So really ADT is gone.
Well, I guess you're gone for a long period of time. Oh, and there's an alarm you can sound. And I wanted to hear what the alarm sounded. I'll never do that again.
Is that loud?
Coming out of this little box blew my brain away.
Stephanie's on her way to Vegas, you know.
Oh, why? For this?
For CBN, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. She flying? Yeah,
She'll be doing live.
Holy cow, wow. I didn't know she's still...
we should take some of those. Or at least put them up.
And she had jury duty this morning. She had to go down there. I don't know if she supposedly had a high number and stuff, but of all the days, they wanted her to get on the first lane. Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter, 303-713-TALK, 303-713-8255. Tony, what's going on, Tony?
Hey, Tom, how are you?
I'm doing good. What's going on?
Good. Hey, real quickly, this thing in Las Vegas, just awful. Can't say enough.
I know. It's just something that everybody, obviously, everybody looks at each other with that look on, wow. But the most awful thing was that it did not surprise me. Really, when you heard about it, did it surprise you?
No, I was going to the gym this morning, heard it on the radio. I was like, not again.
I know it.
That's all I could say.
I know.
Real quickly, though, one thing you were saying is that the fully automatic weapons are illegal.
Yeah, well, you have to have a very special. I think
for the most part.
You have to have a very special permit for them, right?
That's right. So you have to have a special permit.
Okay.
And same thing like with suppressors.
Yes.
So this gentleman.
You mean silencers? You mean silencers?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's a common word for a suppressor, is a silencer. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's one of those that he could have legally owned the firearms. Who knows on that point? I'm sure we'll find out within the next couple of days.
But so you can have a machine gun, for lack of a better word. They're automatics. You can have one so long as you have a special a special permit.
Correct. It is a long process, and you have to go through the government, get a background check, and it's more so than just a normal background check.
It says any weapon here, according to the federal government, any weapon designed to shoot or can readily be restored to shoot automatically more than one shot without manually reloading by a single function. Whatever that means. Anyway, so
Yeah.
So, you know, I hear there's a place in town. Can you call them Machine Gun Tours? I think they're called. I'd like to know the rules on automatic guns. They would probably know better than anyone.
Oh, those guys are great. Yeah, they'll be able to tell you all of them.
Maybe Deputy Dan, you can give them a quick call, Machine Gun Tours. Just ask them if they can come on and talk about it, because, you know, a lot of people are saying, where did he get this gun? What's going on? You know, and who knows if he had it legally or not.
Yeah, that'll be a big question that'll come up too, I imagine.
Of course it will. Of course it will. It always does, right? I mean, and again, I'm not using this, and I hate to use events to try to talk about, you know, gun control and gun this and gun that, because it's not the gun. We know that. But I know this, though, that automatic weapon, oh my God, maximum damage. So he either obviously broke the law or was some psycho that followed the rules and planned it out and got the gun. That's what I want to know. I want to know about that. Today we have a special guest. Raleigh House. The Raleigh House. Representing the Raleigh House, Julian Duran. Now listen, whenever I have a show like this, we always end up saving lives. We do. I'll get a call either from someone off the air or an email, or someone will hear what's going on and they will call, or they'll want to find out more information about getting help. And why do I say save lives? Well, we had a junkie we helped, and we definitely saved his life. He's probably still listening. And we have other people that were just starting on the road of painkillers. Save their lives. Why? Because there's only one way it can end. There's only one way if you keep doing it. All right, here's what it is. This is whether heroin, painkillers, or any other kind of drug. You build up a tolerance, and you need to do more to get the same feeling. Now, that tolerance that you build up keeps getting built up and built up and built up until your body cannot take it, your heart stops, you're dead. It happened with Michael Jackson, it happened with Prince, it happens all the time. That's just painkillers. We're not even talking about methamphetamines. We're not even talking those are opiates I'm talking about. But what about methamphetamines? What about alcohol? There is only one road to addiction: death or recovery. There's no other one. Now you may say, oh well, wait a minute. I know a guy. He's been an addict. He didn't die yet. He'll either get recovery or he'll die. There is no other way around it. You can't manage it. You cannot manage it. You think you can, you can't. Okay, Julian, how many times do you get calls from people who say this? And I know it because I've heard it. Well, I am taking pain pills, okay? I'm only taking this many a day. I don't really think I'm an addict. I don't think I'll die. I think I can manage it. But what should I do? Get close to that mic, Julian, just like you're kissing it.
Thanks for having me on, Tom. I'd say it's really more often than not that we hear those statements.
Everybody.
And I don't necessarily think that it's always a self-recognized denial, but I think it's that people are often so far into that addiction and so
they truly believe it,
unable to recognize the reality of their situation, or just so clouded by the substances that are in their body that often that denial will continue until the very bitter end.
And it's self-medication.
It is.
I mean, we're all, and I mean all of us, I don't think any of us are living an ideal life. I think if we're all honest with ourselves, we have struggles. It might not be, mine may not be serious as yours, or his might not be as serious as hers, or you out there may not be as serious as your neighbor, but we all have a struggle. And drugs dull us to the struggles.
Absolutely, and they affect our families and our communities in such great ways.
But at first, they're really good.
They
are.
I think we wouldn't end up there if it wasn't for that.
They're really good. They really make us feel good. Let's not lie. You're going to feel good, or your version of feeling good. Some people hate that feeling. I personally hate feeling drugged or feeling high, but I like feeling dull. I absolutely loved, when I had back surgery, I absolutely loved taking painkillers. I loved the way they felt, and I could see, and I could honestly see why you would, as you're getting weaned off them, you're thinking, well, you know what? It's not hurting as bad today, but I'll just take one, because you just got used to that feeling, that good feeling. So I don't look at people and say you're a dirty, rotten loser. The same with alcohol. Don't you think people are just trying to escape pain? I don't think one person in the world ever took drugs and said, I'm going to be an addict, damn it. I want to be an addict to destroy my life.
Absolutely, and I don't even think it's always just about feeling good. I think sometimes there's a precipitating crisis that, like you said, then we're trying to numb ourselves to, and then it becomes just that escape, and it's not so much even being able to feel good at that point. It's just
you just want to not feel bad then, right?
I don't want to feel anything at that point.
Okay, all right, good enough. Now, we're going to take all kinds of calls, and then we're going to discuss questions about rehab or treatment and addiction. If you have any questions, you can call from the comfort of your home. You don't have to give your real name. You can do anything you want. Just call us. And we'll talk about the Raleigh House and what treatment is. All you have to do is call now. Our numbers are 303-713-TALK or 303-MARTINO, 303-627-8466. Steve is an expert on federal gun laws and guns. And Steve, what about machine guns? I call them machine guns. They're called automatic weapons. What about them?
Hi, Tom. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you for having me on your show.
Yes, Steve.
I appreciate that. Well, a couple of things. There's essentially three types of weapons that are out there. Okay, one are the kind of weapons where you have to pull the trigger and completely reload every single time you do it.
And what's that called?
Bolt-action rifles that are like those.
And what are they called?
Single fire.
Single
fire. They
fire.
also have weapons where you can load a number of rounds into the weapons, and those kinds of weapons include revolvers, they include semi-automatic pistols, and semi-automatic rifles. That's where you get one shot fired for every pull of the trigger.
Okay, right.
And then you have,
bang, 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 bang. And what's that called? What is that called? You have a single fire, and what's the other one called? Semi-automatic?
They're semi-automatics. Now, revolvers are not semi-automatic.
Not
However,
technically, right.
They have the same function in
right.
that every single time that you pull the trigger, another round goes out.
And revolver is in a class by itself, really.
In a way, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But the net effect downrange is the same. You can and you can fire a revolver. I mean, the world record I think is something like 6 shots, rapid reload, 6 shots in something like 3 seconds. So
all right, now
an awful lot of
so we have single fire, we have semi-automatic, and revolvers, and what else?
And then we have automatics. Automatics are where you get more than one round going out of the gun for each pull of the trigger. And for something like an AR-15, it's not a fully automatic weapon.
No.
Okay? Most AK-47s that people own are not fully automatics. They are semi-automatics. One trigger pull, one round, and that's it. Now, for the fully automatics, they have a couple of different things, and one is called selective fire. Now, for the selective fire, that's usually 2 or 3, maybe sometimes 4 rounds, where you get one pull of the trigger and it goes 3 times. And then
I've seen them.
Full automatic, where it will discharge the entire contents of the magazine
until you let go.
In the case of this particular shooter, we don't know we do not yet know. I'm sure somebody does, but the public does not yet know whether or not he actually had a fully automatic weapon or whether or not he simply had semi-automatic weapons.
But if you hear them,
it's almost perfect in cadence.
Yeah, yeah. Did you hear the shots coming from that from the tapes?
No, I haven't heard the shots.
Okay, they sound like. Try to Drew, if you can kind of rack something up that has the audio. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Sorry, say again.
I'm going to have our Brutus here rack up the audio, but what were you going to say then?
Well, I was just going to say that if it is indeed a fully automatic,
it really sounded like that.
Then it's likely he would have had a federal firearms license. It's called a Class 3 federal firearms license.
What do you have to get that? How is that more than just normal gun ownership?
They simply do a background check in addition to a detailed background check, in addition to the normal background checks. And typically, the kinds of people who have these are gun dealers. So if somebody is selling firearms for a living, they have a federal firearms license. federal firearms license also allows an individual to transport that through the mail, so you can ship it.
Okay. Now, Brutus, let us know when you have that. And so it's likely, well, it's not likely, it's either he had one of those special permits or he broke the law. One or the other.
Or he could have had a semi-automatic and was simply practiced enough so that when he fired it, it simply went bang, 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 bang.
Okay,
bang,
well,
bang.
We'll let you hear that. And again, I've never heard anyone that could do that, but I listen, anything's possible. Now, can you get an ordinary semi-automatic weapon and turn it into an automatic?
It's possible. You can buy various kits that will do that. The kits themselves, because of what they do to the weapon, are required to be sold to people who have federal firearms licenses. And the other thing about the federal firearms license and machine guns is that even then, you cannot own a weapon that was manufactured after a certain date. Now, I don't know what that date is off the top of my head. However, I do know that it's not recent. We're talking like decades ago.
Can you tell me what does it mean when they say submachine gun?
Generally speaking, a submachine gun is a machine gun, but it is below a certain rate of fire. I would like to go ahead and look that up, because that's
okay. No, that's okay.
Long time since I even heard anything.
Now, Steve, I want you to listen along. I want you to listen along with me and my listeners. We're going to play the audio, and I want you to hear the shots. Okay, go ahead. My God.
That is fully automatic fire.
What's that?
That is fully automatic.
Yeah, there's no way that's semi-automatic.
I can't believe how long he kept shooting. I mean, how long can they go? How many
Depends
rounds?
how big that clip
like,
is.
how many rounds can you get normally?
Well, it depends upon the firearm itself, and you know, for most magazines, you know, I mean, it literally depends upon the firearm itself.
Man, if you have a 3D printer, you could probably actually print out a clip that would hold however big you could print.
First of all, they're called magazines, clips. Clips are specific to a certain type of rifle, and they haven't used them for a long time.
Okay, so what about those things I see? Clips, to me, denote, and I might be wrong, denote to me like an aluminum case that you load bullets into. But what about these?
Right,
what are these?
That's called a magazine.
What are these belts that I see? They look like strips of bullets on a belt.
Well, that's a belt-fed weapon for a machine gun, for a fully automatic machine gun.
So you can take either a magazine or a belt?
No, there are very few weapons which will use both, and those are specialty that, you know, that we just don't deal with them. It's either one or the other, and it has to do with the purpose of the firearm, you know, the way it's going to be used and by whom.
And he was shooting from the 32nd floor. From your knowledge, since you're an expert at these, does it have accuracy, or is it just for doing mass destruction in a large area?
You can have a tremendous amount of accuracy from the 32nd floor, and he was only shooting, from what I understand, about 200 yards away?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not all that much. I mean, most hunters in America can hit a deer-sized target at 200 yards away. However, judging by the rate of that fire, he wasn't going for any kind of accuracy at all.
Right.
It sounds to me like he was simply shooting into the crowd.
Oh my God! It's amazing more people weren't murdered, weren't killed. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, and I'll just say this, you know, first of all, I fully support our right to keep and bear arms, and also I was a graduate of Virginia Tech. So when that massacre happened, that affected all of us. That affected my friends and I, you know, who graduated.
Yes.
And that was indeed a travesty. But I'm gonna go ahead and go back and say something that a lot of people have heard, and every single time they hear it, some people will get tremendously upset.
What is it?
But the bottom line is that the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun, unless you sneak up behind him with a crowbar.
Well, that's true, but what about, you don't think there's anything to prevention? I'm not talking stopping, but preventing. Do you think if maybe we try to prevent some of this a bit, and I'm not sure there is a way. I'm asking the question. I'm not advocating. I'm not saying we have to prevent it, but perhaps some of these weapons are not necessary in a society. Maybe they're not necessary.
But then only the bad guys are going to have them.
Well,
the thing about that is that you take any semi-automatic rifle, which most hunting rifles are semi-automatics these days, although there's still a large number of bolt action out there.
Yes.
They can fire almost as fast. It's not. The weapon is not the problem.
Well, people say that, but he would have done way if he was
down the street here.
But if he was an automatic, if he had a semi-automatic taking shots, I think they would. I don't know, maybe, who knows? Again, he wasn't supposed to have an automatic weapon unless he had a very special license. And even then, do we screen people enough? These are just questions I'm asking. I'm not on a soapbox here. I'm not. I'm just like you are. I'm asking questions.
Yeah, your accuracy, when you shoot an automatic, you shot one, Mark, right? I mean, the gun automatically goes up.
I don't think I've ever shot an automatic.
Oh, you haven't?
I've shot a...
You can't hold it.
I shot
I think you shot a machine gun.
Double barrel, 12 gauge, old school double barrel, one trigger with slugs in it that basically almost took my shoulder off. I mean, it was horrible. Never would I do that.
It's not the slugs. It's if you get a Magnum shell. They are...
Those the deer slug shells are going to need the magnums with the 1-inch.
Not always. No, you can have regular.
This was big. This was just a solid piece of lead.
Yeah. Well, they're like that ball, you know. But you get a Magnum shell. Oh man. I can't even believe it. They're like people do glue signs.
I would argue, if you follow my logic here. It should be simple logic.
I keep.
If you buy let's say you buy a vehicle for $10,000, okay?
Yeah.
And it's got 100,000 miles on the transmission goes out.
Never actually used.
Okay.
You ever buy it used?
Transmission goes out like 10 miles down the road. Okay. They offer to pay for half of a transmission, the dealership, used as is. They don't have to do shit. Okay, so the argument is, if the transmission is $3,800 for $1,900 more, which would be your half, now the unit, I would argue, is worth at least $1,900 or more because you have a transmission under warranty.
Yeah.
I mean, is that fair enough to say?
A little bit more, for sure.
It's just the
They don't always carry
bore.
Yeah, you won't. Let's put it this way: you won't lose that.
There's a couple different kinds of the muzzleloader ones.
You're only paying half, and the transmission is done.
But,
it's all Century RV. But what I did is I called around to Jeff Vick and I called around to transmission shops to find out what the real cost is. And the real cost of replacement's about $3,800. So the problem is these people brought it to a shade tree mechanic, okay, and he wants $6,000. So now they're going to get ripped off by someone else. So I mean, I'm just like, whatever. So I'm basically telling them you got to bring it to a reputable shop. I've already called around.
Yeah, that was.
I think it's fair if they pay half of what it would cost to get done, not half of whatever your shade tree wants to charge.
My son-in-law just went bow hunting for the very first time he got here.
Oh yeah.
Very first time. He just started shooting bull like 6 months ago. He got lucky.
That's crazy. You can still, you can even buy specialty rounds for shotguns. You can buy pochette darts that are steel darts. You can saw one at a gun show a couple months ago. It's called the kitchen sink. It had a slug, ball bearings, and then bird shot all in one. You get dragon's breath that shoots a flame.
What is that for? That's just for defense.
Yeah, it's more of a gimmick than anything real.
Take advantage of Ames. It's all about
can't believe you'd be able to hunt with something like that. Do you want me to still call the machine gun tours, Tom? Or is that guy good enough for the...
I think that's fine.
It's going to be a tough day.
895-0500 for details. If you are tired of paying mortgage insurance,
that sounded like a big caliber gun that wasn't like really fast.
You're right.
Like a 7.62. won't shoot as high rate as like a 5.56, like an AR-15 automatic. Really fast. They can shoot like 700 rounds a minute.
It sounds like a belt set, like an old PKM or something.
It definitely.
The Navy's got a railgun now. You know, it works off magnetics.
Things are
They have
It can shoot like 1,000,000 rounds in
They have a laser one too.
1,000,000 rounds.
They have a laser one too, Mark.
It'll heat up the gas on like a plane and blow it up. The laser. That's the purpose of it.
Those railguns. And
Look at this mass shooting. Someone sent this by race.
you said that.
White is huge.
But you know what defines a mass shooting? 2 people? Is that a mass shooting?
I don't know. I doubt it. You can't call a mass shooting 2 people, can you?
I think they call it, I guess go under serial killing, it's like that, because isn't serial killing 2 or above?
Because that's the smart financial move.
I guess, I don't know. Because a lot of these, they'll try to do a mass killing, like when they just blew up the subway in France or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if anybody died, but they sure attempted.
Is this shootings or mass killings? These are shootings.
This is mass shooting.
So that like that McVeigh wouldn't have been in on that.
No, that was a bomb.
Right.
That's right. Just type
No, this wouldn't cover a lot of stuff.
Alliance Leasing.
This wouldn't. This doesn't cover all the trucks that mow people down in parades and stuff.
Sure. Does it,
Today at 1 on Denver's Got
or it is a definition of
But this is exactly what I said. Once we started talking about it, I was thinking, yeah, every mass shooting.
I'm Tom Martino. You're a troubleshooter. On this tragic day, we're taking your consumer calls, problems, questions. We also have the Raleigh House here to talk about addiction and addiction treatment, and anything you need help with, call us. And if you want to talk about this, we'll talk about it. It seems like he used an automatic weapon. Those are specifically outlawed unless you have a special firearms license. By the way, he is now not accused, he's pretty much killed 58 people, wounding 500 others. The death toll, unfortunately, expected to rise. He was 64 years old. He lived in Mesquite, Nevada. Now, he was an avid gambler, racking up thousands of dollars in gambling debt. He also was a pilot, private pilot, and he was an accountant and auditor.
Yeah, for like a big company. I think it was like Lockheed Martin or something along that lines.
He owned 2 airplanes. And he worked years ago at Lockheed Martin. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255.
You think it had something to do with the gambling debt? Just taking a guess?
I don't think so. I don't know.
God, planes, a $400,000 retirement house, it's just none of it adds up.
No. You know, people do want motives, don't they? We want to know why. And I think we want to know why, not because there ever is a good reason, but because we want to know how to prevent it in the future. Like what sparked this guy? AJ, now, originally you called about Richmond Homes. What was the problem, AJ?
The problem with the house, Tom, thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Is the doors inside the house, they don't open and close properly, and I've been struggling with them.
And didn't you say as I remember, a few walls were not completely perfect or something? I'm trying to remember the original call.
It's basically, overall, the attitude overall is, we don't really want to fix your house. We'll try a little bit to ease the pain, but basically, if we have to invest more time, we're not going to take the time to do it right. That's
well, what does it mean, though? What does it mean when they say they'll take some time? Did they fix the doors?
No, they basically, the last thing they've done was they finally found 2 doors that were bad, obviously bad. They replaced them, but the rest, they're not going to do anything about it.
But what do you mean, bad doors?
Like they're warped?
Usually doors don't close, not because of the door, but because of the installation.
Exactly. Thank you for saying that, because that's what I've been struggling with them about these doors.
Well, did you ever have an independent person come in and look?
I had a guy just recently, last week, come over my house and looked at overall the doors, and he says it's terrible. He worked for a company.
But what did he say was terrible? Did he say what was terrible? Did he say what he had to do to fix it if he was going to fix it?
He had to take all the doors out and reinstall them again.
Okay. So why doesn't Richmond do this?
I don't know, Tom. Right now, let me tell you something. They put 2 new doors because they were worked so bad that they finally saw the problem. So they took the doors to get painted. Now I get a door back. Out of the 2 doors, one of them won't even close. So I called the guy, the warranty person, and said, look.
We need to call him. You know what, AJ, we need to call him.
AJ, where are you located, man?
Yeah.
I'm here in Aurora, east of Aurora.
You know what, maybe we go out and we get some good video of doors that don't close.
Is this, how long have you been in the home?
And we can send it out to every KB community out there.
How long have you been, or Richmond, how long have you been in the home?
6 months, Tom, 6 months.
And this started from the beginning?
Yes, because you try to open the door.
How many doors?
It's about 3 that are the worst ones.
And what about the others?
The other ones are in between. The other ones are in between.
Are there any that close well?
Yes, they are.
Okay, now
I said about 2 or 3.
When you say a door doesn't close, if you take the door and attempt to close it, where is it hitting?
Well, what happened is this. What I mean is the swinging part. When you swing it open or you swing it closed. When you open the door and swing it open, it stops right before your eyes. Right there stops. It
Where?
Swing open. Right? At the hinges. The problem is the hinges.
That doesn't make sense. You mean the hinges stop it. It's not rubbing on the jamb.
No, it's not. Yeah, that's not the problem. It's not a problem with latching. It's not a problem with completely closing.
Now I'm terrified if I go out there, I'm going to be looking at it like, what?
I don't know what you're saying. So you're saying it stops. Are you saying the hinges just lock up?
Yes, yes.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, it's an installation problem, Tom, according to this guy that came over last week. And all
right, hold on a second. Just hold on. We need to have somebody look at it, or you need to give us some video or something to start. We need something first. We'll figure it out.
Imagine what he's saying. Can you figure out what he's saying?
If a door is warped, I would think that it would be rubbing on something, but if the hinges are the problem itself, then a door is usually warped. It's going to warp out here. It's not going to affect the hinges itself.
I have no idea what he's saying. He's almost saying if he opens it and pushes it, it just stops.
Unless he's saying if that the piece by the other side is rubbing somehow, which would then to me say that something was installed incorrectly.
Well, there's such a line on it when it will reopen.
Yeah, but how would you remember? These aren't big wooden heavy doors. These are a hollow cheap ass door they put in a track home.
Right now, overcast in the metro area at 44.
Stephanie might be there all week.
And how come we have so many complaints on Richmond? How come every home builder it's always Richmond? Isn't that bizarre?
No, we've had others.
Who's the other one?
Just had this one small.
But no, I think he's right though. I think we had Richmond like
everything's warranty in Richmond.
Plus, they're very big, right?
They're pretty big. They're not as big as Lennar.
They're not the masses though.
Lennar's the masses. KB's pretty damn big.
Yeah. In New Mexico, they got sued for about $4 million because they built on an old landfill and the foundations were settled in cracking mounds.
KB?
Yeah. Yeah, they got ran out of New Mexico.
He's built on a landfill. Oh. What's that smell, honey? You know, in Oklahoma, you just made me think of something else, but there's a grocery store we used to deliver to. It was called Buy for Less. In the parking lot, picture a big Walmart parking lot. Right in the middle was a burial ground for Native Americans or Indians. And it was right there, you know, dating back hundreds of years. No bigger than these 2 rooms put together. But just
wasn't fenced off.
Yep, just right in the middle of the parking lot.
And it said burial ground.
Yeah, it was the oddest thing, man.
It was just built it around it and just left that.
It's like, I don't know. It's just like it was there, and then they built the parking lot around it. And they fenced it off, exactly like you said.
I had someone protest one of my developments.
Over what?
Because they said on the hill was an encampment and a burial ground.
Was there?
Oh, well, I mean, according to them, I don't know. What do I know? So I said, all right,
simple loan refinance.
I'm going to divide this, subdivide this, and I won't build on that part.
Well, that was nice of you. So you gave it to them.
No,
there are no upfront fees.
I said if they wanted a dedication, they would have to take over the taxes and the responsibility for that.
And they didn't want that.
They said, well, you don't build the structure, it'll be fine. And we don't enforce it. I said, they never went to check or anything, but I have a rule there.
Pardon me, AJ with Richmond Homes, two things. So he had Gary Johnson, the old guy from All Construction Consultants out, because there's a crooked wall. And he wanted to tell you about that.
I told him about the crooked wall in the very beginning. I said, did you talk about a wall? He says, oh, the windows. Well, what about that now?
So Gary says, really, the only way to fix that is jackhammer the floors. I said, well, let me see if Tom wants to talk to you a little more. In the meantime, I'm going to try to get video of the hinges. He says he doesn't know if video would do.
I'm not going to talk.
Why don't we just talk to the expert and ask him what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
All right.
He must be able to explain it better than
Well,
us.
The fact that he's going to add to it now, a wall doesn't change the call. We're going to basically have to get this on video.
Aren't square.
Okay.
That's what it means crooked, but it's not square. Most walls aren't square.
Almost no walls square.
It works here.
That's all framing issues.
Not perfectly, you're right.
Well, not perfectly, you're right.
It's hard to get wood perfect.
For all those remote.
He's saying it isn't plumb or it isn't actually
Well, like say if you put like a square and it's not
Sure, yeah.
90 degree and stuff all there.
It's all right if it's if
It's a little bit, right?
yeah, if you don't notice it.
Oh, I'll call on. He was supposed to also. He was going to go look at that Vernon's place too. That Gary Anderson. Is it Gary? Gary Johnson was supposed to go look on Saturday at Vernon. The blind guy.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get a chance.
We might need to. What's that guy going to do? Is he still going to meet with him? There's his dad that was a bank robber.
He looks like a bank robber.
He does, doesn't he, man?
Right from the 30s, right?
Cheer. Whatever happens, I'll tell you what it was like to be on the Broncos sideline. Join me Monday morning at 6. You're on 6:30.
Poor guy.
He paid for his crimes. But his brother, his family, can you imagine?
His brother seemed so shocked.
Oh, man. He seemed like, you
know
could tell
what?
there was no
Listen,
fakeness there.
If I heard something about my brother, I wouldn't doubt it.
Hi, I'm Tom Martino. This is the Troubleshooter Show. We have been discussing anything on your mind, and that includes the Vegas shootings. If you have anything to say, we simply talked about machine guns and what they are and the other kinds of guns and what it takes to get the special license for a machine gun. Again, we're not going to belabor that and use this as a political forum, but anything you want to say about it, you're welcome to call. I mean, it is a major event in our time. We also have a very important guest, the Raleigh House here, to talk about addiction. Any question you have at all, no questions barred on addiction, because it's such a passion with me because of the people we've helped over the years. I didn't realize a radio show could help anyone like that, but then when I hear people went into treatment and stayed there and got help, it made me feel good. And so when we got a formal arrangement with the Raleigh House and we set up this special hotline, and that hotline is just for people who have questions, even if you're not going to go there, just to how to approach an addict, how to confront them, how to talk to your mother versus your father or your aunt, uncle, brother, sister. There's different ways to talk to people. So that's a good topic. Plus, I'm taking your calls. We have a complaint on a shop here that's on our referral list. Matt, we take these very seriously, of course. Now, tell me what's going on with this. Matt? Matt?
Hello?
Hi. So you have a complaint about an auto repair shop on a referral list. What's going on?
So we had a pickup truck, a 2008 F350, and October of last year, the high-pressure fuel pump had an issue, blew up and put metal fragments throughout the fuel system.
How'd that happen?
They say wear and tear.
Okay.
I don't know. It's an older truck.
Okay. How many miles on that '08 pickup?
It had 97,000 miles at that point.
Not terrible. Okay, then what?
Yeah. So we had Douglas County Diesel perform the repairs.
What did Douglas County Diesel do?
They repaired both rocker assemblies, high-pressure fuel pump, low-pressure fuel pump, fuel lines, all of the fuel injectors, and did an oil and fuel system flush.
Wow, okay.
That's got to be a lot of dough. How much was that, like 8-10 grand?
$9,432.
How much did you say?
9,000.
Okay, 9,000, okay.
32. Yep.
All right. So 9,000 plus. Then what happened?
So we kept going, and then May of this year, the 22nd.
Now, when did they do that work?
That work was October 12th when we brought it to them, 2016.
Okay, and now what happened?
On May 22nd, the truck started running poorly again, and, you know, our in-shop mechanic put it on the code reader and found the injectors were clogged again.
All right, why don't you hold on, and we'll come right back to this and more. I'm Troubleshooter Tom Martino. We have the Raleigh House in the house to talk about addiction treatment if you have any questions. We're also going to come back to this problem about a referral list member, and anyone else with problems, questions, or complaints, give us a call, 303-MARTINO.
So I'm going to go down.
Yeah, you see what you did though?
That's why the injectors clog up. He said the injectors are clogged. Is that why? Because of the residual from before. I'm sure the guy, here's what the guy's going to say. Why didn't they clean it out before? Why are we doing it now? Why are we waiting now for Ford? Why didn't they call Ford then? See, I just don't know.
I don't know either. Maybe I should try to get Chad on to answer.
Have him come on. Yeah,
Tell Chad, listen, it's completely cool, but he didn't do anything intentionally here.
Anybody in the Las Vegas area or locally who can do that?
Nevada Governor Brian Sandoval. It's the deadliest mass shooting in American history. The gunman's identified as 64-year-old Stephen Paddock, a resident of Mesquite, Nevada. He was dead when a SWAT team got to him in a 32nd floor hotel room with 10 guns. He shot at people below at an outdoor country music concert. President Trump said answers do not come easily at times like this.
But we can take solace knowing that even the darkest space can be brightened by a single light, and even the most terrible despair can be illuminated by a single...
I think they need to fix this vehicle.
Fox News.
How's that?
What's that?
I think they need to fix this vehicle. Chad's trying to get
could be easier.
someone to warranty it.
Yeah, but what if it wasn't Chad's fault?
Faster results.
Well, they give a 1-year warranty on everything they do.
Thanks to ZipRecruiter,
Okay.
it can be.
And it's the same exact stuff.
Post your job to over 100
I haven't talked to Chad at all.
boards, so you don't spend time wondering where the right candidates
Isn't
are
it
searching.
fuel?
Then ZipRecruiter uses its smart matching technology to scan millions of active resumes and notify the most qualified candidates to apply for your job. And the ZipRecruiter dashboard makes it easy to review, rate, and contact candidates all in one place. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day.
Okay.
ZipRecruiter makes it simple for growing businesses of all sizes to hire the right people, no matter the industry.
How's
ZipRecruiter.
How's the call volume going? Is it decent?
I think it's starting to pick up. One of the things we did is we had our media guys take over and watch things with all kind of analytics because Eric and I just don't have the bandwidth. So I think with their kind of paying attention, I think it's starting to climb up and see that we're picking the dials right.
This report is brought to you by Farmers
If you can see those videos of the doors on the door hinges, so he figured out how to send them through Facebook messaging. So when you log on to referral list, then go to Troubleshooter Show. Well, you log on as you, then go to the Troubleshooter Show messages, not the referral list messages. I was going to show you.
What's important to you. Learn more at farmers.com.
We are farmers. Plumline Services does free second opinions for drains. This is one of the most important things they do. If you have a drain problem, most likely you're being overcharged.
Okay, so now go to this one.
You don't even have a drain problem. Plumline Services is one of the few companies that have their
And
own
then go to
drain
inbox.
division that literally do their own
And he sent
excavation,
two videos.
their own replacement, their own repairs.
One you can kind of
and
see
as a
what he's
result,
talking
they
about,
don't
I
have
guess.
any markup. They're not middleman.
All right, here they are. There's the two. That probably is, I guess, a little more telling.
Thousands and thousands
He's
of
like, well, I don't think the videos are really going to do it
plumbing,
justice.
heating, cooling, electric, and drains.
What's it doing?
Well, look at both of them.
303-436-2530. And don't forget, free second opinions on drains and also $99
So it's just sticking once he pushes it.
cleaning. These are licensed plumbers.
Well, freaking oil them. Maybe they're on backwards.
303-586-1086.
Maybe they're on upside down.
So he's saying it should just shut automatically?
Well,
It does look that looks like
it's almost like it bounces back before it opens all the way.
Well, look, because look, this is the issue. It's definitely tilted. I mean, the photo.
To discover the necessary financial planning.
Here's another video.
My clients frequently tell me that they're amazed at how
You're right there. That is a little weird. Look at that. I can't tell if that's.
Fuller Injury Law. I've handled thousands of car wreck cases, and I can help you. Set up a free case evaluation.
That's the one I just watched.
But it is shutting.
Is
he saying it should just...
I know who I'll call. Zero Res.
That looks fine.
303-471-51.
Is that a problem?
ZeroResDenver.com. The ones who cleaned my carpets before, time and time
I
again.
don't-
My carpets have never ever smelled.
What do you say?
Right. And it's
No
all
idea what-
without soap.
Here, come look at this door.
Those are detergents. Hello, I'm consumer advocate Tom Martino. Just $119.
Okay, you ready?
Treated clean.
Hold on to your hat, buddy.
In some cases,
Here we go.
may apply. When I walk on my carpets after Zero Res, they feel like new. No odors, no toxins.
What is he talking about?
Clean, fresh.
Now, what if he
You
pushes
feel
it?
the difference. I wouldn't have anyone else, and neither should you.
He's got to push it all the way shut.
Well, who cares? Is that what he... I think that'll... But, I mean, is it not closing? I mean, if he... Truly, if he's just talking about it like a hinge not...
Zero Res, the only
I
swinging.
think it's just sticking a little bit.
Your carpet without residue.
Here's the other one. Watch this amazing one. You ready? Watch this. Hold on to your hat.
No, that could be a good one. Maybe that's the way to show him a good one. I don't know.
Why would he send us a video of a good door? We know how a door works. I swear I've
Do
seen
you?
doors work.
Okay, we need to find out what he's talking about.
I swear I've seen doors work. Just like that.
He wanted to make sure.
There must be, I don't know. You must have to feel it, like there's a tight spot.
Yeah.
For a limited time, Indeed is offering
But this one is baffling too.
sponsored job with premium visibility, so more
There we go.
I thought he meant like...
And
Yeah.
It was perfect.
exclusive offer gives you a
You tap the pins out.
maybe he is showing a good one. I don't know.
Let's talk.
any other job.
Let's talk.
They can do one-stop stores for hiring.
64 years old. That's my age. Doesn't he look older?
And he owns a plane.
Hey, that's weird.
Little
Two
scary.
aircraft. I have 2 aircraft.
Uh-oh.
There could be a connection.
Now, Tom Martino,
Shooter.
Help me if you can, I'm feeling down. And I do appreciate you being right.
Hi, Tom Martino here. Welcome to the show. 303-713-TALK. 303-713-8255. Our hearts and prayers and thoughts to people in Vegas who lost family and friends, loved ones. Times like these, man, they're hard. The biggest problem is that we're not even shocked or surprised anymore. That's, I think, the biggest problem. Anyway, let me get to the phones. We're doing our regular show. We have a guest, a very important guest. Julian Duran, he's from the Raleigh House. We're talking about addiction treatment, and I do have some email questions we're going to get to. If you have any questions, please call directly if you want. Even if you're an addict, you want to talk, there's no holds barred here. 303-713-TALK or 303-MARTINO. I also want to remind you, at Troubleshooter.com and on YouTube, you'll see a video, a screaming deal video where we'll get you the best deal and the best price. If you're ready to buy anything and you have your best price but you're absolutely ready to buy, we're going to almost guarantee, I say almost because nothing is truly guaranteed, right? Almost guarantee we can get you a better value. And if we don't, you have nothing to lose, right? So you could call us at 303-MARTINO and we'll do it. Anything you're ready to buy. But now let's talk. This is a problem that has come in about Douglas County Diesel. They're a great shop in Douglas County. We've had them on the referral list for a while. And Matt said, in a nutshell, his F-350, an 08 with 97,000 miles, had a high-pressure fuel pump go out. And you had some other, what else went out, Matt?
Just the high pressure fuel pump.
And it caused damage.
The whole fuel system, exactly.
Did it shatter?
Yes.
And fragments went into the system?
Correct.
Yeah.
Everything.
Man, whenever you have aluminum fragments, oh my goodness, does that cause a problem? We've heard of this before, and it causes all kinds of problems. Though you took it to Douglas County Diesel, and they did a lot of work with the whole injection system, right?
System. Correct.
Okay.
Yep, which we okayed and paid for, and
sure.
we're happy with.
And it was running great. And it was running great. All right.
Fine. Yep.
And now, and they did that in October.
Correct. May 22nd.
So 7 months later, 7 months later, you're having some problems. What are the problems?
So the truck stopped running, basically. Same problem we had when we took it into them.
And did you take it? Did you take it back?
Yes, sir. Yep.
And what happened then?
They confirmed that it was all the injectors were clogged.
From what?
Well, that's the problem. So it started off as they thought it was maybe our bulk fuel supply or contaminated fuel, something along those lines.
What did they do in May when you took it back?
Nothing, basically.
Well, what do you mean nothing? It's running, right? Or did you just not have a truck since May?
Running. We have not had a truck since May. It's been sitting in their yard.
Oh, it's been sitting there. Okay.
Yeah.
If it was due to the original pressure, the pressure pump blowing and the aluminum residual, it is possible they didn't get all of it out. Is that possible?
Correct.
Okay. So, okay. So I guess I'm a little baffled. If it's due to that, you're wondering why didn't they get all the fragments out? Is that what you're wondering?
Correct.
Okay, that's a fair question.
The truck has not even been torn apart yet.
Was the work
until August 10th until I could get
was the work warranted?
We believe so. Yes. Chad
okay, so let's talk to Chad at Douglas County Diesel. Hi, Chad.
Sure, buddy.
So, Chad, what's the story on this pickup? I mean, you did a lot of work on it, and it's a fair question. He's wondering, well, the injectors are clogged.
Absolutely. So there's more to it than just the injectors being clogged.
Okay.
We actually pulled the fuel tank with Matt and his shop mechanic, and we pulled samples out of the fuel filter housing, the high-pressure pump, and the fuel tank. The results came back that there is water and aluminum in the fuel. Water, obviously, is from their bulk storage tank, so I told them to actually get a hold of their supplier and ask them why there's moisture in their fuel when they have a water fuel separators on their system. And actually quite a bit of fuel, water in the fuel system, which that high-pressure system, when you're talking anywhere from 20 to 33,000 psi, is not a good thing to have in there.
They run that high?
Oh, absolutely.
Why?
It's how the injector disperses the fuel.
Holy
Instead of it
crap.
coming out as a liquid, it comes out as a vapor.
I never realized they were that high. Okay, so what about the aluminum fragments? Is it fair for him to ask, why didn't you get them all the first time around?
So where they're coming from, in our opinion, they're coming from the low-pressure fuel pump. So you have a high-pressure fuel pump, you have a supply pump, and then you have the low-pressure fuel pump that sits on the frame rail. The low-pressure fuel pump is a stock one. When we did it, the low-pressure fuel pump had about 58 psi in pressure testing. So what we think is happening...
So are you saying it was working when you tested it?
Correct. We actually have what's called IDS, which is the Ford factory scan.
So in all of that work you did not replace the low one?
Correct.
Okay.
We did the pigtail to jump
Tom, let me jump in here.
Yeah, quickly. Yes.
If I look at my bill here, it says low-pressure fuel pumps, $490. I was charged for.
You had the harness with the filter assembly. That's what we replaced, and I can pull up the...
Okay, injector harness is $189.
No, it's not the injector harness.
Low-pressure fuel pump is line itemed out at $490.
I can show you on the invoice I did this morning with Bill and Eric that were here this morning at the office when we discussed this while I had Ford on the phone.
Well, listen, Matt, we'll get to the bottom of it. Either he didn't do it or he did. He said he didn't replace that pump at the time, but we can figure that out easy enough.
Okay.
I mean, so did you think he did replace that low-pressure pump at the time?
Correct.
Okay. So anyway, Chad, keep going then, and we'll just assume for argument's sake that you did not replace it at the time until we learned it.
That particular pump I did not, but the other pumps I did, and the sender and the tank I did, and that's...
Okay.
I think there's a little bit of a gap is understanding how that fuel system works. That's why I have the truck actually on the lift with another mechanic at his shop trying to show the flow of how the fuel system works on that truck.
All right, so what is going on then? Should it have been replaced at that time?
You know, honestly, the spec on that pump, you have to have 50 psi or more to call it in specification. So between 50 and 60 psi, and he was at 58. So there was nothing showing me that there was any types of issues with that pump. I actually drive the same vehicle. It's my daily driver.
Okay.
I got 176,000 miles on it.
So you think it's coming from that pump. So as a result, then, why has it been waiting there, and why not have that pump replaced?
So what that pump did essentially is it pushed a bunch of material into the injectors and the high-pressure injection pump, which we're not getting the adequate amount of pressure coming out of the high-pressure injection pump that sits.
So did it ruin all those things again?
So I can say it ruined the injection pump. The injectors I can't tell until I pull them out of the truck. Now I'm a little bit tied because I have to follow Blue Diamond, which is Ford's parent company of parts. And we've been following their warranty protocol, which is a slow process, unfortunately.
So are you saying that the warranty may fix the consequential damages?
It's called, yeah, they call it collateral damage. That's what we're waiting on, is a decision from Ford on that.
And can we help?
I mean, I've gone all the way up the chain.
Well,
I had an inspection on the truck on Saturday, and they told me I'd have an answer this week on what their position is going to be.
Okay. So for now, we're waiting for Ford to decide whether they're going to pay for the collateral damage. How much of that original work that you did was damaged? How much of it? In terms of dollars, you did $9,000 worth of work. How much of that original work is now has to be redone as a result? Or do you think? Like, give me a range. About what?
5,000 to 6,000.
So in other words, almost all that work you did could be screwed up because of this. So let me read your mind, Matt. Are you thinking that Chad at Douglas County Diesel should be fixing it even if Ford doesn't?
Not if it's not his issue. I'm not sure on the low pressure pump if that's something he didn't replace and that caused the issue. I understand how it's not his problem.
Okay, now, what we need to do is, if he did or not, we'll check into that deeper, Matt. I promise you we will. I mean, sure. and Chad cooperates. All of our people do.
Yeah, I've never had a problem with them before.
So we're going to look into that. But what I'd like to do is also help Chad put some pressure on Ford, and we're going to get from Chad. We're going to get the name of the Ford rep from Chad, and just what we're going to do is not like make it sound like Chad's complaining. We're going to call on your behalf, Matt, and say that we'd like to know when you're going to have that decision. I think it might put some pressure on them. So hold on, everyone, and we'll, rather than waiting for Ford, maybe we give a little call. Deputy Dan might be the one for this, or I don't know. Mark might want to take this personally and say, you know, this shop, there's a good shop, and this consumer, you know, really did everything he was supposed to, and now your low pressure pump is causing problems. Are you going to take care of it? I want to ask Chad something. Why did the low pressure pump blow, or was it from the original damage?
So the only thing that I can say is something that Ford recommends, and we recommend as well, is you have to run a factory filter in those trucks. Sometimes people don't run them, and what it does is it bypasses the filter because how the filter actually sits in their housings. Ford's has an O-ring, and it clamps in with like a...
So is this something he does not have, a filter or a factory filter?
So he has an aftermarket filter on the lower, and he has a factory filter on the top.
And you recommend factory on both?
Anything in a Ford engine, it's a have to. You've got to run a Ford filter on the oil and fuel side.
You don't think they're going to use that as an excuse to get out of it, do you?
Ford, all they did is they took samples of the fuel.
Okay.
So they didn't actually open anything up. And the reason I haven't torn the truck apart is I don't want a fuel system like that sitting open in any type of inclement weather. It's not good for the... That is
a very complicated fuel system, isn't it?
Very. And when we did it the first time, we didn't clean lines. I replaced them. So I made sure I could not get any contaminants in it because I completely changed the fuel lines out completely.
All right. Listen, get the name of the Ford rep, Suzanne, or Deputy Dan, if you want to talk to Chad with Douglas County Diesel. We appreciate that. And Matt, we'll stay on top of it, and we'll verify that he did not replace that first pump on the first time around. We'll verify that. JR has a question for Raleigh House. JR, I'm going to have you ask the question, and we're going to answer it in a few minutes here because we have to take a quick break, but we're interested to know what the question is so he can work on that.
Yeah, the question is, I've had a great friend of mine that was addicted to prescription drugs. Then she got treatment, supposedly, and she's been going to a methadone treatment center Oh, now this is 3 years coming up this December. And I'm just concerned because I'm thinking taking these shots of methadone every day.
Shots?
Home with a week supply.
Does she take shots? Or you mean a drink?
It's a little shot. It's a little, quarter ounce or whatever it is.
Of a drink. When you say a shot, a drink, not an injection.
Yeah.
All right, you hold on, and we'll talk. No, we'll talk about methadone specifically. There are some substitute treatments that people take. I'm going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages, but I want Raleigh House to weigh in. They're the experts right after this.
This report is brought to you by Farmers.
Past that first hour, I can't even believe it.
The highway drive wide open across town. Just one wreck on the eastbound side.
How do you like it now? Well, I'd rather not rehearse. I'd rather just talk about it.
Watch out
Sure.
for delays on that stretch. The only slow spot in town. The rest of the drive looking good. I-25 easily up
many friends
downtown. Watch out for crash off highway westbound Hampton there near Santa Fe in the cleanup stages. For more real-time traffic updates on your route, download the new Total Traffic app powered by.
Do you have a minute to run use the restroom?
Weather forecast about a 50.
Yes, sir. Do you know where it is?
I do. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you have plenty of time.
Night hours with a low of 39. Right now, mostly cloudy and 46. With your traffic and weather, I'm Pete Wagner, 630 K-How.
It takes more than a roof to make sure your home is covered. Farmers Insurance has over 89 years of knowledge and experience, so you can protect what's important to you. Learn more at farmers.com.
We are farmers.
Hey, it's Ross Kaminsky, and I am really happy to be joined by Larry, another truly satisfied, grateful client of Advanced Tax Solutions. Tell us a little of your story, if you would.
Well, we own a company, and we kind of got behind in some of our tax filings and stuff, but we had one major overriding issue. The IRS was telling us that we owed a bunch of money for a situation that we didn't really understand real well, and then they got more and more aggressive and they actually assigned a revenue agent to come after us.
And what ended up happening? What did Advanced Tax Solutions get done for you?
Well, Advanced Tax Solutions was able to find basically a clerical error in the paperwork that we had filed, took care of that issue. The IRS was telling us that we owed them $15,000, and when Advanced Tax Solutions got done, the number was zero. Advanced Tax Solutions saved our company and our peace of mind, and I think that's probably worth more than the money that they saved us.
Advanced Tax Solutions is the only place you need to go for help. You can learn more online at advancedtaxsolutions.com, 303-753-6040.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you want excellence in roofing, Excel Roofing. They don't hand you a blank contract and expect you to sign over the entire insurance check. They want you to know exactly what's wrong with your roof. So they'll get up there and inspect it free of charge and without you signing anything. Then you'll know where you stand when the adjuster comes. And
Mark, General Motors is now planning on releasing 20 all-electric vehicles in the next 6 years.
There's
now, do you think
Lexus is by 2019 no more fuel?
Eventually, we will be all electric?
Oh my God! Eventually, like in the next 4 or 5 years.
Oh my God! Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding at all, man. Absolutely. The battery juice now is crazy. They're getting to the point where 400 or 500, and then quick charges.
Would you have an electric car?
Oh hell yeah! If I can get 400 or 500 and recharge it in a half hour.
Have you seen the mines though that they use for that? They're saying that you could, the CO2 that goes into actually manufacturing the batteries is the same as buying like a Range Rover Sport and driving it for 10 years.
Yeah, but you're thinking emissions.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. If you drive a Prius, all electric Prius in New York or New Jersey, you actually give off more pollution because most of their electric comes from coal to generate your car being charged.
So he's talking about the battery.
Just the battery itself. And the
manufacturing of the battery.
Right.
And so really, they're not that great for the environment. It's just getting us off oil.
It's getting us off oil.
They're super toxic. They have to lock them up in whip storage once the car is wrecked or whatever because the batteries are so toxic they don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. A tow truck driver was telling me that some of those are bizarre.
See, why don't they bring that up?
Why would they? Who cares?
What do you mean, who cares?
Because who cares?
Because the whole thing about electric car is to be easier on the environment.
Not necessarily.
Who says that?
What do you mean, who says that?
Quiet, they're faster.
No, wait, that's not the only thing.
That's not.
No.
I would never buy one for those reasons.
Okay, why is the government subsidizing them then?
To get away from oil.
To move away from oil.
Honest to God, really, to get away from oil.
I know, but they're using it to do the mining and everything as far as CO2.
No. What I'm saying is I understand that it would be nice, and a lot of environmentalists are using the Prius as an example of better for the environment. I know that. It actually has a bigger carbon footprint. But people say if you get away from the use of oil, that's...
Think of all the poor seagulls that had to be cleaned with Dawn.
Hi, I'm Tom Martino. We're talking all topics. If you have a comment or feelings about the shooting in Las Vegas, you can call us. We're also asking you to call with problems, questions, and complaints like you do every day. We're going to be here as your stalwart, as we always are, helping you through everything. And we have a special guest today, the Raleigh House. They do a treatment for addiction. And JR had a question. He says he has a friend. This friend, male or female, did you say?
Female.
And she was on what before this?
Well, she was doing anything she could get her hands on. Vicodin,
Was she doing heroin?
No.
So mainly prescription pills then?
Yeah, that's all it was. It was all.
I'm surprised that methadone was prescribed for that. But in any case, she went to methadone. And methadone, for those listening, is a liquid that you take, and it's a drug that covers the opiate receptors and causes you to have no withdrawal, and used properly will not get you high, but it quells the desires. And but they have way better stuff since then.
I thought people got addicted to methadone.
Well, you can, absolutely.
It has pretty bad withdrawals itself.
Now,
it can actually be comparable to heroin.
It can. But there's a benefit over heroin. I'm not saying a benefit. There's a benefit over heroin. But I want to hear what he has to say first. So, JR, she's been on it for 3 years, but her dose has not increased, right?
No, it hasn't increased. It hasn't decreased. And that's what I thought. Maybe they would decrease her dose and try to wean her off of it. Because it can't be good for your kidneys, your liver, or your heart,
Okay, now, as far as her, is she truly staying straight as opposed, when I say straight, relative to the methadone?
Absolutely.
Right. So let's get...
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll weigh in on the use of substitutes after, because I'm saying they're the experts and they're our guests today. So what should JR be concerned with?
I think substitute drugs like methadone and Suboxone definitely have their place as tools, and they really do bring a harm reduction value to the equation as opposed to people using the illicit substances. But I think the problem is when those tools aren't used in conjunction with actual treatment to treat the underlying issues of why people started using those substances, then they continue on those. And I have personally seen people that have gone to methadone clinics for upwards of 10 and 15 years, and without that other piece, it's the missing part of the puzzle.
So in other words, they're just another addict.
In a lot of senses.
She's on disability, and she's paying them $200 a month. She lost her only daughter, 10 years ago. So
I'm just shocked, though, that they're using methadone. I'm shocked because the Suboxone has something else added to it that it makes it more beneficial and less harmful. But what I don't understand is why methadone, when she wasn't even on, they usually use that for heroin.
What I don't understand is how is she on another drug trying to get clean for 3 years? My brain doesn't understand what it is.
She's probably not doing the counseling, JR. So
no, she does. She's mandatory to do a counseling every 2 weeks because she pays for that too.
Well, then she may not be getting the proper counseling, and still, believe it or not, may need rehab or treatment such as the Raleigh House. So let me explain this carefully. Let me explain this carefully because I don't want to be misunderstood. It's obviously better not to have anything, okay? But let me tell you what people have done with Suboxone. And methadone is a little more harmful, and it actually does make you high to a certain extent.
It can be abused.
So it doesn't, yes. The way they do Suboxone with an added element cannot be abused, cannot be injected, and doesn't make you high. And let me just tell you what it does for addicts. Like, we had this one guy, and he was spending $2,000 a week. He was also, his life was going to hell because of it, and he was building up a tolerance and needed more and more and more, and he will kill himself. What this did was got him out of buying illegal drugs, first. Second, it saved his kidneys, because with the codeine, he had to take all the Tylenol. So it was killing his liver and his kidneys, whereas the Suboxone simply covered his opiate addiction, and you do not build a tolerance. So he was able to get off the merry-go-round instead of searching. And some people actually get excited by the search, the hunt, the buying, the taking. He got away from the crowd. He got away from the roller coaster, and he stopped building a tolerance. So he doesn't have to do more and more and more and more, and saved a bunch of money. Then he used that money for counseling, and you can easily wean off of that with the counseling and with a program, because you've gotten away from the habit. And when I say habit, I'm talking a total roller coaster of the highs and the lows. Because when you get low, you'll do anything for drugs. And when you get high, you don't care. And it's a terrible cycle. Whereas when you're even, you don't get those lows, and you don't get feeling terrible and start searching and hunting for drugs. So it does have benefit. However, without any kind of rehab along with it, without any treatment, it's not going to do anything at all. So yeah, it helps them get off the roller coaster. It helps them to develop healthier habits. But then they have to have the treatment, right? I mean, isn't that the whole thing?
Absolutely, and especially with just the physiological response to the opiates and what that does to the brain, it really takes some long-term care to help rebuild those neural pathways and get that brain chemistry back to where it needs to be, and that's where that treatment comes in and can, make those other...
And that rehab of the brain and that treatment of the brain won't happen unless the substitute is diminished over time. And but there are protocols for it. So it sounds to me like she just got shoved into some public health program or something because she's on disability or whatever. I don't think anyone's looking out for her best interest.
Honestly, with those programs, you can walk in having been addicted to painkillers, heroin, or any of those and start the program, and really there isn't much regulation in terms of when someone is forced to taper or get off. And that's where the harm reduction piece is. It's kind of weighing 6 of one, half dozen of the other on what's best.
Yeah, and some people just, once they get away from that whole roller coaster, then they can put their head around treatment. So that's why sometimes it's used. It's not supposed to be another addiction. Jeff, what's your question, sir? Jeff?
Hi, I'm here.
What is your question, sir?
I've got some osteoarthritis in my thumbs. About a year and a half ago, they've given me a drug called Tramadol to alleviate the pain in these thumbs.
Yeah, Tramadol, right.
And I was just wondering what effect that has on your body if you continue to take that.
You can get addicted to Tramadol, can't you? It's not an opiate, though, or what is it? Tell me.
It's similar, and it can be abused, and the body can build a dependency to it. It's not going to be to the same level as maybe some of the other heavier opiates, but it can still cause some of the same problems. It has withdrawal effects, and that's where really, it's on an individual basis, and, I'd be happy to talk to you more about this and kind of where you are in using the medication, and, if you have a plan to get off that, of course, in working with your physician as well to figure out what's going to be most appropriate for you in your care.
Okay, surgery, what they want to do is there's no cartilage left in these thumbs, and it's extremely painful, and recovery time on these thumbs is quite a long time.
How long have you been on Tramadol?
About a year and a half.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit of a problem for you. Are you interested in tapering?
Oh, sometimes I don't take it at all, actually.
And what happens?
Well, nothing seems to happen.
Good, good.
Osteo, I've got this...
Here's what you need. Here's what I recommend for that. This is excellent for stem cell therapy.
Oh, okay.
If you go to my referral list at referralist.com and look for stem cell therapy, you can do either the stem cell therapy where they harvest it from your body or from a donor and get the living stem cells, or you can do the derivative of living stem cells, the growth factors, which Stem Cell Institute does, and you can look at both of them and study them, or you can just look for anyone else you want. But stem cells, or platelet-rich plasma, PRP even, and the derivatives of stem cell have been known to work wonders on that kind of arthritis.
Okay.
You may want to look into that. Seriously. Now, there are also surgeries for the thumb specifically that really work, Jeff. And again, I'm not going to tell you what to do for pain, like not to take pain pills, but I'm telling you, Tylenol and ibuprofen, they work. And it's better not to get the ones that have the addiction quality.
It's hard to tell people who are in pain, you know.
Absolutely.
Because Ideal wants to make sure if they do finance for you, they put you in a
Mark, that pretty much looks like he did a pump. Can you talk to him off the air, Mark?
I'll ask him, yep, because it's weird as shit.
I mean, it looks like he did a freaking pump. So let's find out how much that pump would cost. And if that's $490, then he better pay back the $490 when they do it.
Well, I think it's a much bigger problem if he charged, yeah.
Guarantee.
A much bigger problem. In fact, Dan, I'm going to let you ask him. Call them. He just said on air that they didn't do the low-pressure fuel pump.
Well, and the guy said that. Said the exact same thing.
Well, ask him. I'm staring at the invoice now.
And I don't know why he kind of jumped over it.
Ask him, because that's a big fucking problem. Because I'll be honest, if they charged him for it and didn't do it, that's a problem. And if they charged him for it and accidentally didn't do it, they might owe him everything.
Folks tell us all the time what they appreciate when they call for others.
Something's wrong.
I mean, not only are our technicians well trained,
in fact, treat them like we do anybody. I don't give a shit if they're on the referral list or not. That fucking looks like they did that pump. How does he say they didn't do that pump? Is there two? Okay, maybe there's two of those pumps. Maybe there's two low-pressure pumps. I don't know.
I love the way,
but it's a hell of a question.
But I say he skipped over that.
Well, go ask him. Just call him.
Matt said that on there.
Maybe there's two different. Maybe that's just it. There's two pumps.
With no
There's two pumps, but there's
all over the channel.
What's the year, make, model?
North and south, from Fort Collins to Colorado Springs and everywhere.
2008
Call for your next
M360.
seminar and get a seat. 855-262-4040. That's 855-262.
Well, just call him up. Call him up and ask him.
Candidate for stem cell therapy. Well, anyone who has a joint problem, because it can put off surgery in many cases. It can avoid surgery altogether in other cases. And in all cases, it gets you relief. So if you're interested in stem cell therapy, you're going to want to attend.
I was up so freaking early, man. I was up at 3 a.m.
Again, the number 855-262-4040.
Yeah, I woke up to that on the news, and it was just, I couldn't go back to sleep. I ended up falling back to sleep around 4:30 for like an hour. Oh, that gave me anxiety. We're going to Vegas in February. It's a while away, but it's like a whole... I don't think I'd go to an...
I internalize too much now as I got older. I
don't want to go to outdoor events.
You know that I used to have way less empathy. Maybe, I don't know why, but I mean, I really didn't. I cared, but I really didn't feel. It's a weird thing. You know, I like, oh wow, I'm so sorry, and I did. But it wasn't.
Now it gets to you more. That's what you're saying.
Like way more. Even these consumer problems, I get so pissed when these ladies are ripped off and stuff. And I'm wondering why that happens. I wonder if it's a natural progression.
Maybe.
500 companies lease their vehicles because that's a smart financial move. Hey, it's Ross Kaminsky for my friends.
Or maybe you are just becoming a liberal.
And money and more money. And have been doing just that for Colorado businesses for more than 20 years. A Alliance Leasing will get you into your fleet vehicles with all the upfit you need at the lowest delivered price. I'm a finance guy. If you need a choice of leasing with
Tom, no
Alliance,
Brett Ivinson today.
your business.
Doing TV.
Learn more at alliance.lease. That's right, just like alliance.lease. Alliance Leasing, your key to the perfect fleet.
There may be a time in your life where you need Joseph A. Lazara. You know, I talk about all my experts.
Did you want to
Joe
talk about
Lazara is one
Oh,
of them.
I'm fine, thank
He's
you.
one of them I always say, hey, I
You
hope
want
you
a
don't
Diet
need
Coke?
him. Joe Lazara is
I'm fine, thanks.
an
Just go.
young criminal water.
Yes, the water's great for me. Thank you.
Mark, that new Consumer First logo is even better.
You're
Did you
just
see
in the
it?
wrong place. and you're
I got it over to
Really
him.
nice. Oh, I got it to him. I sent him the Dropbox.
Oh, good.
So he can download. He wants an EPS. That's a very specific thing.
Without legal
And
Joseph A. Lazara is someone we highly recommend. Of course, we also recommend you stay out of trouble too. But Joe Lazara can help you when it comes to
I don't see anything where there's two pumps, but I'm hoping there's two pumps.
and the criminal case.
he said 3, I thought.
They said the high pressure, the carrier, and low pressure.
Right. So that's 3.
So what's the carrier?
LazaraLegal.com. Also on my referral list at referralist.com. He'll always do initial consultations complimentary. 303-429-6200. 303-429-6200.
Want to know what's going on? Follow us on Twitter at 630KHOW and find
I
out.
don't know, man.
Tom Martino here, solving problems.
Answering questions, taking complaints. Steve, who's, by the way, a member of our referral list with Star Quality Painting. Steve, what did you want to call about, sir?
Tom, I tell you, I've had my truck into probably 4 different shops, diesel shops, over the years. My truck has 540,000 miles on it.
Whoa!
Yes, and I will say Douglas County Diesel is the best shop I've ever been to. Period.
Now, what do you like about them?
Well, customer service is great. They get you in and out the door as quick as they can.
Cool.
Diagnose problems. I just had a really good time with this.
Hey, 540,000 miles. You have really, really beat the system.
You ought to see my truck. It's gorgeous looking.
Really? And you've beat the system. You really have.
So,
I
anyway,
love it. Thank you. Oh, thank you for letting us know that, Steve. Star Quality Painting, of course, he's a good guy. We have great guys on the referral list. We stay on top of it. And listen, we're not afraid to handle problems when it comes to people on the referral list. And, you know, that's all part of it. That's why you have recourse. Jim, you want to talk about a repossession. What's going on?
Hey, Tom. I have a friend. Her husband had a car titled in his name, and the loan was in his name only, and he died.
So it's in his name only?
Yes.
Okay.
Can the loan company, if she lets that be repossessed, can they come after the deficiency against the estate?
Yes.
Or her personally?
Not her personally.
Okay.
They can come after the estate if they want to. They seldom do, but they can. Yes. Is it a big estate, Jim?
No, it's. I think he had like a 401k worth about $60,000.
Well, they can't get that.
Okay.
The retirement funds are not up for grabs. The only thing up for grabs, money in the bank and excess from real estate sales and that stuff.
Okay. They wouldn't be able to come after the equity in their home?
In whose home?
In their joint home.
Okay, well, see now, if the home automatically goes to the wife, if it was titled that way, the answer is no.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure it was joint tenants with right of survivorship.
Okay, then it would go all to her. The only thing, how about it, put it this way, the only thing would be anything that goes through probate. And the only thing in probate is what is not done, which is not done before death planned for. So money in the bank, probably they probably had it titled that way too.
Right.
So if they did everything correctly, and David Salisbury would tell you that, and he would always answer questions free of charge. Quick questions and initial consultations if she needed to call, but most likely. Now, if she tried to keep the car and did not pay, they could repossess it, but they still won't come after her. It just wouldn't be right. She should call them and let them take it in. Now, many times you can make a deal with a finance company when something like this happens.
Okay.
How much did he owe on it?
He owed $9,000, and it's worth about $5,000.
Oh yeah, they may not make a deal like that, but you don't want that. She doesn't want to take that over, and no matter what they say, they can't make her.
Okay. All right.
All right, man. Anything else?
Our life insurance proceeds, would they be subject to?
Not if they go directly to her, no.
Okay.
See, that's the reason. Now people say, Tom, why do people have estate planning? Why do they do beneficiary deeds or tenants in common? Why do they do, or it's either joint tenants or tenants, whichever the one is that automatically goes. Why do they do the bank accounts that way? And the answer is to keep all of your stuff away from creditors. The same with life insurance is not touchable, and neither is the government benefits, anything like that. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Jim. I hope that answers some questions. And David Salisbury is available. Remember, if you need him, 303-713-8255. Okay. Another email question here on our Raleigh House guest. Should I try quitting myself? I've never tried. Or do you think rehab is always necessary treatment? What do you think? That's a question.
I don't think that there's necessarily a black and white answer to that, but I can tell you through my experience that most often when people try to quit, some may succeed and some may succeed for a period of time, but often if we're not resolving those underlying issues that maybe caused us to use in the first place, it is more often than not going to come back up. And without knowing what substances are being used, some can have some very dangerous potential side effects, including some that are fatal. And I would just always encourage someone to talk to an expert before they try to come off of any substance. With alcohol and benzo specifically, there can be major seizures that can cause death as well. So I just encourage you to talk to someone. Whether you decide to jump into treatment, please reach out.
Now, this is Dylan from, Julian, from the Raleigh House. And Julian will be one of the people answering that hotline they've established just for my listeners and people who need to call about any question you have at all. Any question at all. 303-713-8255. Jan! And by the way, we have open lines if you want to give us a call. And we will always bring you updates on the Las Vegas tragedy, the shooting. So call us at 303-713-TALK or 303-MARTINO. And of course, if you want us to make a deal for you, just find something you're ready to buy, get your best deal, and we'll beat it. What's going on, Jan? What's happening, sir?
So, Tom, my son, about 2 months ago, my son rented a storage locker at a public storage facility. So he paid 1 month rent, and then he, let's just say he's being detained now, and he has no, he can't, he's not in a position where he can pay for the locker and keep all his things secure. And so the first month that he was unable to do that, I paid the rent for the locker. Actually, let me go back. So he's on the lease for the locker, but he authorized me to enter the premises. So I have the code to get through the gate to get to the locker.
And you have the key?
But I don't have a key.
To his locker?
I don't have a key for his lock.
Well, does your son have it?
Yeah, he does.
Is he friendly with you? Are you on friendly terms?
No.
Okay, so why do you want to get to it?
Because I don't want him to lose all of his things.
Well, then why wouldn't he let you have a key if you were going to help him? He doesn't trust you?
Well, I don't have a good answer. Maybe that's a better discussion with Raleigh House.
Okay. All right. So really, if you said to him, he gave you access once already. Did you have a key then?
No.
Why did he
never gave me a key.
Then why did he give you the code?
Because I don't know if he was thinking clearly at the time he did it, but he gave me the access code and he said, I lease this place and here's the code so that you have access to the locker, but he never gave me a key.
All right, and you don't think he will voluntarily, right?
Right, correct.
All right, hold on. I have some ideas coming right up.
This third hour, I have not done anything.
Report is brought to you Way to go.
The highway drive from Metro area in pretty good shape right now. Looks like that earlier crash eastbound I-70 at Central Park. Looks like that's been cleared up.
So are you questioning that there's 2 low fuel pumps? Low pressure fuel pumps?
I don't see anything that says there is.
So he says one's in the tank, which they replaced, and one's on the rail.
Where's the high pressure?
The high pressure goes from the rail to the injectors.
And then he said there's a carrier.
There's that third pump.
Is it? I don't know if it's.
Well, there's three fuel pumps.
Yeah.
One in the tank, one on the rail, and
There's the low that was on the rail.
Right, there's a low on the rail,
And a high.
and that one was fine. The one on the rail was fine.
That's the one he charged up for, right?
No, he charged for the one that was in the tank.
Oh, that's the 490.
Yes.
Crazy with so many people on the road? Find your go-to solution for
He said the one on the rail at the time read 50 pounds, just like I was supposed
Okay,
to.
so that 490 is for that one, then the high pressure.
And then high pressure, correct.
And they're both called low pressure. One is low pressure on the one a low pressure in the tank, and one a low pressure.
And that's probably where their invoicing system is.
From the top down,
He also said he offered to pay half the parts on the fix, and he wouldn't want to do it. He also has 2 other vehicles that are down with similar things that he hasn't touched. He thinks it's a combination of their fuel. They got a bulk fuel tank, and they're not using the right filters.
And then you don't pay a dime, not one dime, to get them on the job and to finish that job. Then only if you're 100%
That's always a good one.
pay.
And he said he wouldn't, they wouldn't allow him to test their all fuel tanks for
your trust,
the fuel to see if there's
and your
water.
loyalty. That's Excel Roofing. 303-761.
Well, to me, that one's simple. Do they have other vehicles that
Or whether it be a major
Yes.
feed off of it?
Yes, well, they have 2 other vehicles with similar problems as this.
Oh, okay. Well, then that makes sense.
Yeah.
Win up to $1,000.
And if I had a diesel, I would do everything right. That's so expensive.
Saturdays in October from 2 to 8 p.m. One winner will be selected every half hour to find the 3 special symbols
We don't accept friends on our
and win up to
site, do we?
$1,000 cash. Frankenstein
I don't think so.
at Lady Luck Casino Blackhawk.
They're likes.
Yeah, we have likes. I don't know what you mean by friends.
Well, I have friend requests here. Oh, maybe I'm not on the Winchell Club site. I thought I was on the referral
When you're
site.
hiring, you want qualified candidates fast, and it can be hard to know where to find them. More than 3 million businesses use Indeed.com.
Remember, tomorrow you've got drag racing.
Whether you need entry-level
You got to be there early, man.
Indeed helps you find great
Vandermeer.
talent to make the right hire. Indeed is
You don't want to do it?
Here's a $50 credit. You
I've
get
done
their
it
first
before.
job post premium visibility as a sponsored job.
Can you have somebody write up everything where I go and what I do?
That's Indeed.com/promo. Terms, conditions, and quality
Yep.
standards apply.
I'll get it to you. I'll email it to you.
Affordable interest mortgage.
It should be fun, though.
You how to own your home faster, not change your spending habits.
It's for
Save over $100,000
Master
in
Drive.
interest. It's your money. Call 720-895-0500
I got
and take
blinker
advantage
set
of
up
the
finally.
Special Value event, where you receive $300 now for any closed loan. Use it for Home Depot, Bed Bath &
And,
Beyond, Lowe's. And the opportunity for $1,000.
The one that I'm telling you will be the best. I got to tell you, you knew I wasn't a big fan of theirs way back when, but they have come through on any issue we sent.
Who?
Appliance Factory. And
No, I'm really good on
the
it.
only issues that we have had in the past year, remember, my only problem with them, honestly, dated back 10 years. So it's pretty hard to be upset over that. But anyhow, anything we've sent to them, which has only been 2 over a year's period, they've taken care of. And if you think with the locations they have, which is like 30, and the traffic they have, Christ, 2 complaints in a year is unbelievably good.
Since they've got that new guy that really took control.
I think that's what happened. That guy really took. He said, you know what, we're going to handle this stuff.
Yeah, that's the guy who was pissed off.
And a lot of it, I think, was just communications.
Yeah. It's 90% of the problems we have here, Mark. Communication.
99. What'd you say?
That's 90% of the problems we have.
What'd you say? Dan, we hired Dan because he has an incredible talent that no one else can do. You ready for this?
Okay.
He can look at your shoes, which I guarantee he's already done, okay, as weird as that sounds, and he can tell you where you got them. Every time. Every time. Not one time has he been wrong. Even if it's like a standard pair of Reeboks that you could buy at, say, 4 or 5 places. He looks at you, comes up with a profile, looks at your
And that's
shoes.
not the only reason you hired me. Come on.
Well, it's pretty much it.
I'm Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. Rocky's Auto, 63rd and Federal. If you're looking for a used car, truck, SUV, or van, Rocky's. And they have also variety when it comes to pricing. Oh, my goodness. They have price ranges from around $5,000 all the way up. And they have also low interest rates and 40 lenders to choose from. So you can find lenders competing for your business, which is what you want. So go there Monday through Saturday, 9 to 8. Rockies, 63rd and Federal, 303-426-4646. Now, we got a lot to talk about, so hang on. Right now, Jeannie, your turn. Jeannie.
Hi.
Hi. What's happening, Jeannie?
With my adult daughters yesterday, one of them lives with their dad.
And I want to tell Jan that on the locker, we didn't forget about you, but I wanted to get Jeannie in for the Raleigh House because it had to do with addiction, and I wanted to get those right through. Go ahead, Jeannie.
I was asked if he ever took drugs while we were married. We've been divorced quite a long time.
Yes.
I was not aware of anything, but he always had problem with porn.
Okay.
They are saying he is staying up at night. They think he's taking some substance, and then he'll crash during the day.
Now, did you say this is your ex, and why are they contacting you?
Well, they're my daughters.
Oh, but your daughters are telling you about him. Okay.
Yeah,
I get it.
They brought it up yesterday
I get
because...
They're concerned.
Yeah.
Do they live with him?
One does.
Why don't they live with you? Or does she go back and forth?
No, he's got a bigger place than I do. I'm basically in a two-bedroom apartment.
So one daughter lives with you and one lives with him?
No, one lives on her own.
I got
and
it.
One is living with him.
And she said he stays up at night and he watches porn.
And watches porn.
Okay.
Now, and there's some, I guess she has seen him with some questionable people discussing money. And he sells his Viagra also.
Where does he get his Viagra? Anybody can get Viagra. Why does he have to sell it?
I don't know.
How does she know that?
She's living there. It comes in the mail.
Viagra does?
I think so.
Okay. I'm just curious why anybody would buy it from him when he can get it anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so she, maybe it's not Viagra. Maybe he's selling something else.
Well,
and she told him, is that what happened? She said, what are you doing? He says, I'm selling Viagra?
I don't know.
Okay.
The grandchildren were around, so we were having trouble discussing this.
Now, does she have kids, the one that lives with him?
Yes.
Does she live with him with her kids?
Yes.
How many kids?
2.
How old are they?
10 and 2.
Does she have a husband living there?
No.
Okay.
No.
So now, the dad watches porn and uses meth. Does she think he uses meth?
They think there's some sort of substance involved that is keeping him up.
How much does he stay up?
I don't know.
I mean...
I don't know how many nights.
So what is your question?
He works.
What is your question?
Well, the Raleigh House. Are they handle something like this?
Well, okay, that's a good question because I say to call with any questions. They can handle anything, but he has to want treatment. So what does how does she approach him or the daughter? What does the daughter say?
So, and first to address some of the concerns, specifically with meth, a lot of the compulsive behavior that comes along with that can show up in some sexual instances with porno addiction as well. Now, if we're unsure, really one of the best things to do would be for you to call in and chat with myself or my staff, and we can really try and help you to form some questions to bring up to him, so to make sure that we're doing it in a really caring approach.
Are you on good terms with him?
We're cordial.
Okay, so go ahead.
So even if it's working with the daughters as well to maybe form some questions to help ask him, so it's not also going to be maybe in a way that would scare him off, so we can get the best chances of helping him to help himself. And with that, then we could get him into treatment. But meth addiction and some of those other co-occurring pieces that come along with that are absolutely things we can treat at the Raleigh House.
Okay. Well, if this is meth, I'm leaning toward meth because I Googled, it last night. They seem to go kind of hand in hand.
Well, did he ever have drugs problems?
No, but he always had a porn problem.
How do you know?
I was married to him for 12 years.
Well, when you say a problem, what do you mean?
It's come up. We know he buys it. We know he's gotten computer viruses because of it.
Okay. So...
he's got a porn problem. That's no doubt. What substance he's using. And I'm concerned about the substance because
because of your daughter.
Yeah, my daughter and my grandchildren are over there. Could it be something where he... goes crazy or...
Can you get... Okay, she can just be open with him. First of all, you need to call over there, okay? And we'll give you that number, 720-893-5559. And you need to talk to them off the air. I'll give that number throughout the show. I'm consumer advocate Tom Martino for Larson.
If they're truly buying porn, they probably do have a problem, considering it's free everywhere.
Porn, I mean, God, I hear so many parents and so many women talk about these addictions to porn, and I don't know what they mean.
Like he's staying up all night watching.
Yeah, but she said he's got a job.
Specifically with the meth, though, I mean, pretty much everyone that I know that's used meth would sit up for 8 hours on their phone with just watching porn.
Honest to God, I mean, because
that would be an addiction.
Because it is so ubiquitous, and I mean this. I mean, it really takes the mystery out of it. Where does the addiction come in? I mean, once you've seen it, like you can't interact. It's not like unless they get on these chat sites or something. It's like, what is the addiction? Just watching? I mean, I don't.
Well, Dan, tell us.
You're saying it just get boring. That's what you're saying.
I'm thinking it's the same old thing, right? I mean, really, truly, if there's no barrier to what you can see, and there's no romance. It's not like you're courting someone. So it seems like, okay, you might be interested at first. Oh, this is weird. But time and time, I mean, doesn't it become like it's not exciting anymore because it's just there?
That's how people end up being impotent when they try to have sex with their partner because they've become so desensitized watching that extreme, weird kinds of porno that then they can't actually have sex with their partners, and it continues to the...
Or maybe...
They need that extra stimulation from the wild stuff.
But I thought this, maybe people who don't have a partner, they don't have romance or sex, maybe that's the only outlet they have. But even then, if a guy goes and relieves himself, so to speak, where's the addiction? Like, what do they mean by addiction? Does he do it 6 or 7 times a day? Does he...
Well, if he can't work or hold a job like anything else, that's when it would be an addiction.
But he was doing it when he was married. She said he was doing it when he was married, too, so...
Or maybe they go to the bathroom a lot and they say they have to pee.
You're fast, though!
He's the quickest! He's a 6-shooter.
I've never seen anybody like that.
Colds and other ailments. Rely on the most accurate, easy-to-use thermometer, the Nitrogen Typical Scans, now at your local Raleigh House and other car retailers.
Yeah, electric cars are taking over the world, bro.
No, I see it, but and actually, so this article I'm reading on it, so maybe not now are they totally with fossil fuels, but they figure in the future if they can get the electrical done without fossil fuels, that's where they'll get the savings. Yeah, but the batteries and stuff.
So like you charge your batteries off solar, for example.
Sure, then right. But they said it's 9 million.
Here's what I never understood. The tide. Why can't you have something everywhere in the ocean, because the tide never stops? It's the one thing that just is perpetual. How come we can't turn that into energy?
You can't cost.
So it's just not worth it.
Right. So right there, it says here the difference of CO2 from a manufacturing electric car to gasoline car is 9 metric tons greater than an electric car.
Look for cranberry cereals.
Makes sense.
9 metric tons CO2.
Yeah.
CO2, yeah. And then it gains as
well. I'm getting a solar car. All solar.
Right, so then your CO2 output would end there.
And up to $500 off his services.
Maybe.
No. Besides battery replacement.
I don't want a battery. I just want.
You know the thing though.
Nothing but CO2. Or CO2. Yeah, one of those CO2 cartridges, like the old balsa wood. Welcome to the show, the only show of its kind. We solve problems, we answer questions. Yes, we do a lot of that stuff. And real quick, Tommy's walking back in. I do want to tell you about Buddy Mitchell, though, and Simply Floors. All the flooring you needed. Now, Tom, you've never heard anybody in the history of the world start off a show with a commercial, have you?
Well, I say...
go ahead.
I say brought to you by, this hour brought to you by.
That was pretty good.
But you want it to be brought to you by Buddy Mitchell?
Yes.
Okay, go
and
ahead.
simplyfloorsinc.com.
Okay.
Because you can get everything out there. Anything you need. You can get carpet, you can get hardwood, you can get LVT, you can get waterproof stuff. You can get it. simplyfloorsinc.com.
simplyfloorsinc.com, okay. And let's talk and see what's going on with Jan, because Jan called about a storage locker his son has, and he doesn't want him to lose his stuff. The son, obviously, does he care if he loses his stuff? He's in jail, right?
Yes.
Okay, he's in jail. He stopped paying rent. You have the access code, but not the key. So I'm just going to ask you straight out, does he care if he loses his stuff?
I don't know.
Okay, then I want to ask you something else. And because this is anonymous and nobody knows who you are or your son, I can ask these questions because I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. Why do you care if you get into it? Is there something there you want that he owes you or something? Is there something behind the scenes we don't know?
No. He doesn't...
You have no vested interest in this other than you don't think he should lose everything.
Correct. And so
then why don't you just keep paying his rent?
Because it's a lot of money a month, and his mother and I want to move it to her house.
Okay,
so
that's fair. Expense. That's fair. Okay, so you have the access code. Why don't you just take a bolt cutter and cut the lock?
Well, it's the type of lock you can't get a bolt cutter on the throw that's around the door.
You can't?
Yeah, it's like a hockey puck. So let me.
I know which one you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So what I went out there with a locksmith to go to the storage locker to have him open the lock.
Right.
So that we could go get the things. It's the end of the month. We want to get the stuff out of there.
Right.
And he was in the office of the place when I walked in, and then the gal said, "Oh, well, I need to see your ID to see if you're on the lease." To okay that.
Yeah, which is proper.
Well, I'm not arguing that point, but anyway, when she checked and she goes, "No, you're not on the lease," and I said, "Yeah, but I can enter and get to the unit. I just don't have the key. I need to get the lock open."
Right.
And she goes, "Well, you're not authorized to do that." And we own the lock. I mean, my son owns the lock. They don't have the keys. So.
Well, they can keep someone out of there that's not on a lease. Did you tell her he was in jail?
Yes.
And then what did she say? And you're saying I'm doing this for him.
Yeah, I did say that.
And what did she say?
And she said, "No, you can't. It doesn't matter. You can't do that."
So you're going to have your son's cooperation. That's all there is to it. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. Otherwise, you sneak in. I mean, truly, that's what you have to do.
Well, so... All right, so my question is, if I did that, am I now violating something, or could he? Not unless
if you do no damage to the facility, they don't care about trespassing because you didn't violate them. They can't even press charges unless you do damage. The only person who could press charges would be your son.
Yeah, against me for moving his stuff.
Right, that's right. And yes, you could get in trouble then. Yes.
Yeah, well, I don't want to get in trouble.
Well, you could. If your son was pissed off, he literally could have you arrested for it. But I'm telling you, like, I don't understand the dynamic there. You're trying to help him, but he doesn't even care. In fact, he would be mad at you for trying to help him.
Maybe, but let me put it in the light that he's not thinking clearly.
And that part I don't know. Drugs?
Yeah.
But he's in jail. Well, I guess you can get drugs in jail, but
no.
Well, again, I think the drugs are medicating. It's self-medicating.
No, I understand. Yeah. What's he in jail for? Is it likely he'll be out soon? What's he in for?
He could be out. It's like some minor charges, and he violated the terms of his bail, so they found him and they've just put him in there while he's waiting for his hearing.
Is there anything worth a crap in there?
Yeah, he's got some stereo equipment, some mixing stuff. I mean, there's, it's all of his clothes. I mean, if this stuff goes away, he comes out and they do something with, I don't know what they do when you don't pay your rent, but...
Well, they put a lien on it, and then they sell it off if he doesn't pay it.
Okay.
They give him, there's a process, though. So...
Okay, so it isn't like, immediate.
No, it could. I think there's a process. First, they give you notice, then they put a date. It's like an eviction. There's a process, but he's not going to show up at anything, and he's not going to pay, so it could go rather quickly. I'm not exactly sure of the storage or the bailment agreements, but I know that they can go quickly, and then there is a sale.
Yeah, see, and that's what I'm afraid of, because if he comes out and all that stuff's gone, the only thing he has is the clothes on his back.
Then what you should do is pay the rent. Or get the mom or someone. I don't know what else to tell you. We're brainstorming live on the air, so that's all I can tell you. Get his cooperation or pay the rent. Because if you break into it, yes, he can press charges. Joel? Joel?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Tom.
What is your comment on Vegas?
Yeah, I know you're taking all kinds of comments, man. My heart goes out. I'm heartbroken over this whole thing, and I just want to say I don't see any need to have any type of, even a federal licensed armed dealer. Why they need to have
machine guns,
ability to obtain fully automatic weapons. You go to Dragon Man's outside of Colorado Springs, and you can rent fully automatic guns there and shoot them.
But as Mark, I know. But as Mark brought out, if there's no way to get a permit for him, people will get him anyway, right? I'm assuming this man had it illegally. Maybe he didn't, but let's assume he had it illegally. We know there are people who have them illegally. We're not going to stop them, huh?
Yeah, you can buy kits like you had a previous.
I know. So what do you do about it, though, Joel? How do you outlaw? Outlaw machine guns. Then what? How do you? They're outlawed now, really, in essence.
That was definitely machine gun. I heard the audio several times, and no one can pull a finger that fast.
Joel, I agree with you. I agree with you that these have no place, in normal society. Right, in normal society. But what I'm saying is, what do you do about it? That's why they're called criminals. They break laws. The laws are only for us. The laws will never stop people from having guns.
How can they're being manufactured and sold, and that's the whole point.
But a lot of them come out of China and come out of other places.
Yeah, listen, I agree with you, by the way, even though a lot of gun lovers will hate me, that I don't see any reason for that
Americans too.
That the average person has to have an automatic weapon. But I assume that it doesn't matter.
The whole reason to even be able to bear arms was to be able to protect yourself from our government.
Right.
Originally, that's what it is. Of course. So if our government had very big, fast weapons, you would think you would want the same kind of weapons.
Well,
good, bad, or indifferent. That's where it comes from.
But Mark, the point is, I'm making isn't even that. The point is that criminals.
Okay, Mark. Yeah,
are you saying, Joel? Are you saying they shouldn't be available anywhere? You can't shut down.
Because Mark brought a good point up. Mark said, it was to protect ourselves from the government. I agree, but you know what? They have rocket launchers. Does that mean us civilians should be able to get rocket launchers? Or
good point, Joel.
Federally approved.
Joel,
what? You don't have one,
Joel? Again,
I don't have one. No.
Listen, what I'm saying is this. If it's illegal, it won't stop the criminals. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have laws, but laws are for people who follow them. I guess people could make the argument, well, Tom, oh, then why is there a law not to murder? Or, you know, people would, I mean, yeah, okay, so if we passed a law tomorrow that guns were outlawed, period, do you think truly that it would stop outlaws from having guns?
No, absolutely not. It would not.
It would stop me from having guns, and you, but it wouldn't stop the gangsters from having guns.
Well, even in places where it's really hard to get a gun or get one in, like in some places in Europe, what do? Well, now they take trucks and plow through parades and kill people.
I mean, Joel, I don't know what the answer is. I'm not pretending I do. I don't know what the answer is. It goes way beyond guns and knives and cars. We have to, I don't know. And I was going to say...
The question is, what do you do with a nut? Because this guy was a nut.
And he didn't, and no one knew he was. That's the deal. No one knew he was a nut. That's what scares me. How many times have we heard this? Well, he was a pretty normal guy. He kept to himself. Or I mean, you don't hear them say he was shifty-eyed and crazy, and I always knew he was going to do something like this. Has anyone ever said that? Well, I expected this. The guy was a nut. He lost his temper. He talked about killing people. That's what's so weird about it. In some rare cases, we can point to telltale signs that should have been picked up on. But in the vast majority of cases, we can't even identify crazy people, because sometimes they don't demonstrate they're crazy until they do the deed. It's terrible. And it's scary.
I got a question for Julian.
The Raleigh House is here talking about drug treatment, addiction treatment.
There's that TV show. I don't even know if it's on anymore, but we used to watch it, Intervention. Does that stuff work when people call up that line you guys have? I mean, do you ever say, hey, get the family members together? And
in some cases, maybe.
And force them in. I mean, is that a real way of getting people in therapy?
Because what I say about our line is that you'll answer any question and you'll give tips and hints on confronting or talking to an addict.
So we absolutely help families with strategic planning. And
right.
I think really what an intervention is, when it's done at its best, it helps clients to recognize the reality of their situation and why they need to go in. So if done right, the client will make that realization themselves and self-identify that they need that help, and that's where that intervention, done with professional help, can be very effective.
Okay, so the answer is it can be.
Absolutely.
But there are other times you need to use there are other times you need to use kid gloves.
Absolutely.
I guess what I meant is, do you personally or people with the Raleigh House ever go and do that kind of intervention like we see on TV on those shows?
Like, would you help me if I said
exactly.
I need some help with my son?
Absolutely, and that's where if someone calls in, we can help them and put together a strategic plan for what's going to be best suited for their loved one and how to help them.
Here's
an intervention.
Here's another question that just came in. How do you know an addict? I mean, how do I know I'm an addict? How do you know someone else is an addict?
I think it's something that someone really has to self-identify, but I think one of the main things is if the substance you are using or the behavior that you're using has become a compulsion and it has started to cause unmanageability in your life, that shows up through
that you
maybe
can't
side
stop,
effects
and you can't stop
with your health, in your relationships in your life, maybe with your work, and those things are starting to have some issues, and those things are kind of piling up and you're unable to mitigate those issues. I think it then becomes an issue of addiction.
All right, 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. Andrea says she's ready to buy, I don't know, windows, a window, what?
She's sending me the link so you guys have the proper info, Tom.
Okay, now, Andrea, with our special screaming deal, how many windows are we talking about?
We're talking about 19 windows and 1 patio door.
Okay, now, you understand that we will absolutely positively help you if you're ready to buy at that price you're sending to us.
Yes, I am. I was actually about ready to sign the contract, but I thought, you know, I'm going to give Tom a crack at this.
Okay, would you accept anything, and you can trust me on this, that we determine to be equal or better? Or would, I mean, you don't have to say yes right now, but I mean, is that a consideration, or will you say absolutely never? You want just that brand?
Oh, no, I don't mind just that brand. I just want something that's equal or better.
Okay, good. You send us the specs. This is going to be our next challenge, and I'm going to love it.
That's a lot of windows.
Now, Ideal Home Loans, for your next Ideal Home Loan, you hear me say that all the time, and the reason I say that is because it's true. I've known Brent Ivinson and the crew for many, many years. They're on my referral list at referrallist.com, and they have these main things. Credit optimization. No matter how good or bad your credit is, they work with it. That means if it's good, they make it better, and they do it legally and ethically with some small tweaks that can get you better pricing. They have a custom term loan. If you want to get the low rate but not go back to 30, they can customize the loan to any term you want. They have the rate guarantee. If rates go down over the next 2 years, they will refinance you free of all lender fees, and they have pre-approvals. And that means you're approved, period. So all you need is an appraisal and title work, and you're ready to close. It is like a cash deal. Ideal Home Loans, direct lenders can close in 3 weeks or less. All of their promises are made in writing and signed by them. IdealHomeLoans.com, 303-867-7000, 303-867-7000.
This report is brought to you by Farmers Insurance.
In the metro area, could I please come back after this before we go to break, or is it automatic? Can you come back to me for something? I want to get something done. Do you?
No, I don't. My buddy Mike's
okay,
got
good. Then I'll just wait for that.
I'm getting tired of them. All these things. I got them saved. I've never heard in there, and somebody comes in there and steals them.
Have you ever heard of this?
Frank Duran did before that.
Is that the kind of gun?
With a high
Guys,
50. Right now, mostly cloudy and 46 with your traffic and weather. 50 or 60.
Well, you.
You just heard me talk about Ideal Home Loans. Well, I got to tell you, if you're ready for a loan or you're ready to buy, you know, Frank Duran, think about him, the real estate man, because Frank can help you buy a home. He can help you list and sell yours, and he'll do it better than anyone, period. If you're looking for a real estate broker, don't go any further than this. Frank Duran, therealestateman.com. He has stats to prove it. He sells faster, quicker, for more money. And when you're looking to buy, he will find the deals sometimes even before they go on the market. He did it for me, and he can do it for you. 303-920-1622. Frank Duran, therealestateman.com. Hey, you know, I have a passion for health. You know, we're talking today to the Raleigh House about addiction. Another thing I've talked about over the years is cosmetic dentistry, and sometimes I'm a little disappointed I did because it's a bad word, cosmetic dentistry. You know what? It just covers things up. That's right. That's why I love Aurora Orthodontics and TMJ. When they straighten your teeth, oh, it's cosmetically beautiful, but they do it medically in a sound way with no surgeries. They do it naturally through actually widening your palate so your teeth have room. That's why there are no extractions and there are no surgeries. Yes, your palate can be widened even as an adult. In fact, it's cheaper than cosmetic dentistry. Do you know that veneers can cost $50,000 and $60,000 for a whole mouth, and you can, for a fraction of that, get the new orthodontics over a 2-year period. Widen the palate, straighten the teeth. To finish up, they use Invisalign braces, and then you not only have a beautiful smile, but because your jaw is properly aligned, it does away with TMJ, and it also helps with sleep apneas. You have to call Dr. Kent Lawson for the new orthodontics. 303-690-0100. 303-690-0100.
80% of Fortune 500.
I sent you guys the 19 windows.
I see what it is. Here's what this thing does.
Thank you, dear. I got you.
So, the recoil, because the stock moves like that, the recoil makes it fire again.
So it'd be almost like automatic.
So it is. It's basically probably not as fast, but it's a nice steady.
Yeah.
Who is that?
It's a company called Slide Fire.
And they get away from it?
So you put your stock, you put this stock on your AR, on whatever, your AK. And when you fire it, that recoil...
You gotta fire the first time with the trigger.
The first time you'll fire with the trigger, then the stock starts bouncing like this.
And firing each time.
And firing at a pace.
And you're right, it's not...
Cause they call it bump firing. That's cheating.
Because an M16...
It's exactly what it is cheating.
M16 will fire 700 rounds in a second.
Here's a guy shooting.
That's how fast it'll go.
Let's see how fast this is.
Who do I have next?
He's going to shoot 100.
Oh, he's going to shoot 100.
100 round.
Colorado Tinnitus
Hearing Center if you have tinnitus or you have a hearing loss, one or both. I've represented Dr. Patty and Dr. Lisa for many years. They have helped me out with my tinnitus and with my hearing loss. They can help you too. They have a new Desyncra tinnitus treatment that's billed as a permanent solution, meaning it doesn't come back. And if it does, even if it does, in some cases it hasn't, but if it does, you can keep this therapy. It's an audio therapy and use it in the future for the price. And they let you try it out first for a trial period. They also let you try out hearing aids. And by the way, with the hearing aids, there is absolutely no obligation whatsoever. And you can get the one just right for you. 303-534-0163. That's 303-534-0163. Helpforringing.com. And I'm so happy people like that are around to help. And another kind of help I hope you never need, legal help, comes from winkandwink.com. Wink and Wink, they're bankruptcy attorneys. No one ever wants to file a bankruptcy. In fact, those who plan and do all that crap, this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about people who got in a pinch, a death in the family, a divorce, they lost their job, they're in debt, they were foolish, they need a fresh start. Mike and Gigi Wink, they have compassion and passion for you. They can do a Chapter 7 or Chapter 13. Winkandwink.com, 303-410-1720.
Michael Brown, afternoons 4 to 7.
That's every bit. Look at that thing.
Yeah, it's as fast as
you can hook the
it's as fast as a Tommy gun.
Yeah.
You can hook the trigger in your belt loop and do the same thing.
Can you?
You hook it in your belt loop and you pull forward. And
So, you come home, your garage door doesn't open, the spring's broke. Who do you call? OneClearToyStores.com. In fact, if anything goes wrong, One Clear Toy Stores. In fact, they'll come and inspect your door before anything's wrong.
If you mention Martino, you get a free safety inspection, hinge tightening, lubrication. They put that sticker there. They give you a full written report. OneClearToyStores.com, 303-565-6409. So, we got a lot of problems. Andrew is ready to buy windows. Mark is analyzing that contract right now. It's kind of late in the show, but we're going to do it. If we head to it this next half hour, we're definitely going to pick it up first thing tomorrow. Tom, what is your question about a letter? Tom.
Hi, Tom. How are you doing?
Good. What's going on with you, sir?
Not too much. Hey, first off, well, anyway, my daughter's getting ready to go back. She's going back to school, back to college again. She's looking for getting another degree. She had traveled a little bit in the last year. The Pikes Peak community wants her to pay out-of-state tuition, saying that she wasn't a resident of Colorado during the months that she was traveling.
But she was just, hold on, she was just traveling?
A notarized letter from my wife and I stating that she lived with us. This was her address, mailing address.
Tom, hold on. Do they want a letter saying she is a resident or is not a resident?
That she is.
Okay. And was she truly a resident during the time she was traveling?
Yes.
She had her car here, she registered here, she got her mail here?
Yes.
This was her permanent residency?
Yes.
Okay. So the college will accept a notarized letter?
Okay, my question is, if they come back and say, even though she traveled during those 5 months, am I putting myself in jeopardy?
What you're saying is, if you give a notarized letter saying that she was a resident, and they come back later with an investigation and find out she wasn't, are you on the hook?
Yes, am I?
No, hold on. It depends. Is she 18?
Yes, she is.
She's an adult.
Yes.
As long as you don't sign any agreements for school, you're on the hook for nothing. Can they come back and say that you lied? Well, yeah, but they would have to prove it. I mean, if you truly... I mean, first of all, Tom, I'm asking you, was she truly still living with you guys?
Not physically. Yes, she was.
Okay. She was still there. You were still getting her mail. I mean, people travel. How long did she travel?
About 5 months.
People do that all the time.
Why did this become an issue?
Good question. Why?
I don't know.
Well,
community college.
No, wait, hold on. No, hold on. She goes to apply. Why did it become an issue? Don't say you don't know, because they never ask for a letter. Did they say, they don't ask every student, oh, by the way, get a letter from your parents saying you lived here. By the way, get a letter from your parents. They don't ask that. So there was a reason they asked it.
Apparently she did, when she was in Australia for that period of time, they thought that she was living there.
Why? Why did it come up? That is such an important question.
I don't know.
Okay, well, you better find out, because they didn't just out of the blue. Oh, what's her first name?
Katie.
Oh, by the way, Katie, you need to prove you were a resident. They don't say that. So something came up. What came up? Something that you realize that they do not ask every single applicant to provide a letter.
Yeah.
Then there was a reason they asked her to provide a letter. What was it? Because that's going to be important.
Okay.
I would still provide it if she truly was living with you, but did you ask her, Katie, why did they ask for this? Or did she just go to apply and they asked, but where were you? I don't know. Had she been going there before?
Yeah.
Tom,
okay.
Had she been going there before?
Yes.
Okay. She took time off.
Uh-huh.
Did she say
she
what?
She did apply for a work visa while she was in Australia, so she could supplement her income while she was there.
I don't think that constitutes residency.
Neither do we.
It's a work visa. I mean, but I would still, Tom, your question is, can you be held financially liable? No. Can you, if you truly lied, you're going to be in trouble if you truly lied, but you can also have an opinion and feel like you're telling the truth, but if you find out it's not true, then yeah, you could be on the hook, but I've never heard of anyone being prosecuted for it. I would say if it's the truth and that the best of your knowledge you still considered her living with you, then I wouldn't have any problem with it. Royal, what's going on with you, Royal?
I'm a Lyft driver, and my insurance companies are overcharging us, because of they don't know what to do.
Well, you know what? It's Uber and Lyft are pretty much have been conquered. I mean, as far as the insurance, they know how to do it. Insurance companies do it all the time. They have no problem with it. Let's go to Brian Burns from Compass Insurance Group. Who's your carrier?
Right now, it's Geico.
Geico. Okay. Brian, he says his insurance company doesn't know what to do about Lyft. Don't you, Brian? Isn't this common now, Lyft and Uber, where you can have a little rider for that or not?
Yeah, when you say common, I have 3 companies out of all of them that I write that will do it. So it's not super common, but yes, it can be done now, of course.
And when you write it, how does it work? That the time they're on Lyft, while the time they're signed on, during that time, their coverage doesn't cover them, or it's secondary.
Yeah, so really the endorsement, because Lyft and Uber both have insurance for while you have customers in the car, but the problem is the time that you are actually chosen or whatever, that you've got on your app that you're supposed to go pick someone up. During that time and the time you pick them up, you have no coverage on your personal policy because it excludes it because you're in the process of actually...
on the way, you get a call and you're 3 minutes away. For that 3 minutes, you're not covered.
That's right. You're not covered. Or even if you're signed on, ready to take people, a regular insurance policy won't cover it. That's why you need the rider. It will cover you during that time.
And how much more than normal insurance is it?
It's not. The rider itself isn't that much. Probably, let's say... I think it depends on your driving history, but let's say on average probably $80-90 a year. It's not a huge deal.
And it's only with the carriers that take it. You can't have a rider from one company and insurance with another.
That's right. And that's the problem, is that while that rider might not be expensive, if you have to move to a carrier that actually offers it, who knows if that carrier is going to be a very competitive
Hey, Brian, if you had a typical, say, a couple $1 million umbrella, would that cover you?
No, the umbrella excludes it too. This is just on the auto policy.
So, Royal, so Geico is not one of the ones that accept it, right?
Yes, it does. And what happened, I told him I was doing
Lyft. Royal, you just told me that your insurance doesn't know what to do.
No, not that they don't know what to do. All of a sudden they're telling me that different companies have different times when you're covered,
right. That's right.
I'm wondering, I'm trying to find out who's the most competitive.
Okay, that's good, and that's a great question. Royal, what you should do is call Compass Insurance Group, and I promise you they'll take the time to go over on the phone with you your options, and they'll tell you if Geico's doing a good job. They really will. But what Brian is saying is The only difference between regular car insurance and having insurance with Lyft and Uber, the only difference is during the time you're signed up to take rides till the time you get a passenger is a gap, and that covers that gap if you get the right kind of insurance. If you don't get the right kind of insurance, you will be covered all the other times by your private insurance company when you're not signed on to the app, and you'll be covered when you have a passenger from Uber or Lyft. And you won't be covered for the gap. So that's the difference. When you buy a policy that includes Uber or Lyft, they cover the gap. Do you get that?
Right.
So that's what you need to do. You need to find who insures the gap easiest.
So far, I've only talked with Geico because I had them already.
Okay. Brian, who have you found to be the most competitive when it comes to Uber or Lyft?
You know, it differs. So, Safeco is one that we've written quite a few through. Travelers does it, and so does Acuity. Those are the three I have. Do
me a favor, Royal. I would love for you to get quoted before the end of the show and let us know how it compares, if you could. We're going to give you the number. Hey, Suzanne, get him over to Brian or someone at Compass quickly. You're under no obligation, Royal. Compass Insurance, by the way, home of the insurance checkup, 303-996-9000. 303-996-9000. And it's really important that you protect yourself and do it the right way, okay? You do it the right way. Genesis Total Exteriors have windows that when you buy them, they pay for themselves because they're solar. You say, well, I don't have a solar system. It doesn't matter. They are wired into the grid, and you automatically get credits for them. That's right. The only people, and they're beautiful windows just like any other window, except they actually will pay you back over time. They also do all kinds of home improvements, all kinds. Give them a call, 303-679-8509. You've heard all the problems we have here. We don't have them with GenesisTotalExteriors.com. All right. I hope you never have the need to call John Fuller because he's a personal injury expert. That means you were in an accident. But I will tell you this. Whenever you're in an accident, you should always, if there are any injuries, always consult an attorney, always. That doesn't mean you have to go into a lawsuit or hire anyone, but always consult a good attorney. Fuller Law, John Fuller. Why? Because you will never be treated fairly. Did you hear what I just said? And I mean that so sincerely. Never. It's the nature of the beast. I could give you example after example, but I'm not going to. Especially when they say we accept liability. That puts you off guard. We have found case after case after case where insurance companies short people. So please call John Fuller just for a consultation. You won't be sorry. 303-597-4500. 303-597-4500. His website, personalinjuryco.com. Also on my referral list at referralist.com.
This report is brought to you by Farmers Insurance.
How cheap these windows are. What make are they? They might be crap windows too. What make are they?
Oh, I gotta go look again, but the whole
How much?
12 grand.
Oh, for 19 windows?
Yeah.
That's almost impossible. I need to know the name of the company.
I'm looking it up.
Okay, 10 grand for mine.
No.
20 years
Vinyl ones.
Yeah.
No. That's right. $631 a window. That's about right. Oh, for sure.
It is,
what kinds you got.
Oh, no, that's right.
Window World.
Hold on, Mark. I know the pitch on that one. Who is it? Okay.
.com.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
You know, what are you going to pay for pure water? Well, Pure Water Choices is not afraid to tell you. You know why? Because they know there's a lot of hype and a lot of fiction out there. Low prices, but when they get in the door, they raise prices. Al is a master plumber. He doesn't play games. If you want a double filter, that's what you need, because you need carbon and you need media to get both the gases and the sediment. If you want a truly top-of-the-line system for a single use at a faucet, it'll be around $500 to $600. That's right. If you want a whole house Mac Daddy with conditioning as well, that'll soften your water, extend your plumbing life, plus purify your water, you're talking $3,800. I mention these prices because they are real. And he's not afraid to say it. If you want a free evaluation of your situation, because it could vary a little, you could probably get a whole house system maybe cheaper depending on your home. Call Al before you call all of these liars and cheaters in this industry. PureWaterChoices.com, 720-219-7818. 720-219-7818.
Do you owe the IRS? Then don't wait.
Mark,
Does Champion sell different levels?
no, but I'll tell you what. You tell them what we want to do, and
Well, there's a couple, yeah.
But we have to make very clear to these guys.
Yeah,
I have to teach them how to market this. We're not giving specifics. You don't have to do it for everyone because they're not even going to see what you did. They're just going to know you got the best deal, and people are going to be curious to get the best deal. That's the whole. I don't care if they ever do it again. We're doing it for the person that called as a benefit.
But you think that's the average price of a window?
Oh yeah, on all these high lines. Yep.
What do you mean high lines? What is that?
The better windows are 600 and above, 600 to 800.
So that includes the installation, right?
Well, look at the contract, Mark.
No. I know it does on here, but when you're thinking of the cost,
yes.
It looks like the average, like 4,000 series double hung,
Call Katie.
are 270 apiece.
Call Mark. Call our people on the list first.
Yeah, I will.
K&H, all of them.
Yeah, they're. Oh, you know what though? Her address is Colorado Springs. I got Champion down there.
But the benefit will be every time we say that you got to beat a champion, they're
Oh, I
always
see. Then the glass is separate.
Hi, I'm Tom Martino.
303-713-TALK, 713-8255. What's new in your life? How can we help you? That's what I ask every day. We want to help you. We have so much going on today. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. Jake, welcome to the show, Jake. What's going on?
Yeah, I'll make this as quick as possible because it's a long story. I was wondering if I could talk to Julian with the Raleigh House for a minute.
Yes.
My brother has a severe addiction, and has for a long time. My mother died back in 2009, a couple weeks before his 14th birthday, and that's where it went real bad.
What did he start doing? What did he start doing?
He started off with oxys, and he spent a couple years in the juvenile system, and then he actually got arrested for a felony on the morning of his 18th birthday, about 3 o'clock that morning.
What happened on that day?
He got in trouble. He broke into a camper in the neighborhood that my dad lives in, and got in trouble, and it ended up working itself kind of out.
How old is he right now, Jake? Just some straight questions, and then I'll let you talk. How old is he now?
He will be 23 in March.
And how long? So since he's been 14, he's been on and off drugs, opiates, right?
More or less, yes.
Okay, since 14, and right now he's on heroin.
His biggest problem has been heroin. Most recently, he's smoking cocaine out of aluminum foil wrappers.
Right. I see those wrappers all over the place. They're burnt aluminum squares. What about the heroin? Does he inject or smoke?
Last I heard, he was smoking. I don't know that he's ever injected, but I'm not 100%.
And is he living with anyone?
And this is where my question is. He's living with my father. Although he has a daughter who will be 1 in December.
And where's his wife or his girlfriend?
His girlfriend lives close, but
Is she a junkie?
No, but she has her own certain set of issues.
Does he want to get straight?
As far as drugs, it's not drugs that I'm aware of.
Does he want to get straight?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
Okay. And does he work?
He does, but and I get all my communication from my father through him.
Do you have a relationship with him, Jake?
Not really. My wife and I and my 4-year-old have all but cut him off, and it's not that we don't care. Obviously, it's just he's a danger to my child.
Okay, so Julian, do you have here he is? Ask him questions. We have some background.
So
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. If you have,
yeah, I want you to ask what you want to ask.
My biggest question is how do I talk to my dad about this? Because every time that I talk to my dad, I swear what he'll tell me, he goes, he's a good kid. It's just the drugs, and I'm like, yeah, that's the entire problem.
I think what you're saying is really not an uncommon issue, and really, I think for us to give you the best advice, I'd like you to call in, and we can do a little bit more of a screening, so I can get a little bit more information about your brother, about some of the dynamics, and about your father as well.
Your father's an enabler.
More or less, yes, sir.
Well, he's giving him a place to live.
Yeah.
Not charging him, probably.
Yeah.
So he doesn't work, right?
He does, but all of his money, he's like 4 months behind on his leased car payment. I mean, it's incredible. All of his money goes to drugs.
Where's your mom?
My mom passed away in 2009.
Oh, you said that. That's right. That was one of the things that caused him to go into a tailspin.
Yes, sir.
So, Julian, what would be some of the screening things that would make a difference? Like
so,
what?
Really, we'd be asking more questions about the brother, about his use, about some of the other pieces in his life with the girlfriend, the child, all of those kind of pieces, as well as some more information about some of the family dynamics, especially with his mother passing. That's a huge piece and a huge event that can precipitate some of these issues. And really, with those kind of dynamics, we can help you to maybe frame some questions for the father. And we're also happy to speak with family members always to help them maybe recognize a little bit more of the reality of their situation. And I think that is one of the most challenging things also is, especially with your own child, to really recognize that they have that addiction problem, and how do we then take that next step? And that's where we're really here to support you and the family and helping everyone to kind of
does your father deny there's a problem?
Yeah. I mean, if we're being truthful, yeah. Like he realizes that there's an issue, but he's unwilling to do anything about it.
Does he know it can kill him?
I think so, but I don't know that it's fully understood. Like the thought is there, like he understands that eventually it could, but I don't think he understands that it could be tomorrow, it could be today.
So this guy's life,
I've been waiting on a call that my brother is dead for years at this point.
Your brother every day, his entire life is devoted to getting heroin or cocaine.
From my understanding, like I said, I honestly, my wife and I finally got married a couple months ago, and he had no issues with not being there. Had a million other things to do, and that's fine. I mean, it is what it is.
Have you ever tried to just go where he works and after work just be there at his car and talk to him as a brother?
Not at his work, but I've had a couple. There's been a couple times where he'll come down. I live in Colorado Springs, just outside of Colorado Springs, and they live all the way up near Boulder. So we don't meet up a whole lot, but the last probably 5 times that I've talked to him over the last year and a half, 2 years, I always bring it up. I'm like, hey man, what do you need from me? What can I do to help? What can we do to help?
Does he get upset when you address it?
Oh yeah, and he'll
Does he deny it?
He'll completely deny everything. I mean, I've been clean for years.
Sometimes he's not low enough. I mean, it's unfortunate. But here, listen, we really do want you to call there, and Julian will talk to you personally, and then we'll get their experts involved as well. 720-893-5559. We really mean it. You ask for Julian and say that you were on the show. Julian took some notes. Jake from the show, and he'll remember, and maybe some of the experts there will have something to say, and then he said he's happy to talk to your dad. That's 720-893-5559. Let's talk to Al Aramis about ASC certification. Here's what I want to know, Al. I brag about 303 Pro Auto, and this is a consumer piece of information that I need. What does ASC mean, and does it really, should we care about that? ASE.
That stands for service. It's automotive service excellence. ASC was started years ago, and it was an accreditation. What they used it for was to certify technicians that worked at dealerships in order for them to become a master within their line. You required the training there, but you also required the ASC credentials, which tested you out in 8 major areas of the vehicle, and now they've added additional tests like hybrids and diesels and all that. So the people that get it, that you have to be trained.
And there's an actual national institute for auto safety, auto service.
Auto service and excellence, absolutely.
Right, the National Institute, right.
Almost every school that teaches automotive requires their teachers to be that, because it sets the bar. I hire those same people. Those are my guys.
And your son is certified, right?
Absolutely.
In how many of the areas?
He has 5 of his credentials.
Wow.
So he's got 3 more to become a master. I've been a master now for close to 30 years.
Okay.
So why do people care? Well, it just says something a little bit different about the group of people. And my technicians that are working on customers' cars, that's what they do.
It's like a PhD, basically. Really. I mean, the amount of hours and stuff that goes into that, you're like a PhD.
Yeah, and our shop is a Blue Seal of Excellence, which requires that 76% of our people, including our advisors, be certified. So when you come in, you'll have a peace of mind, and you know you're working with experts.
And 15% off labor for how long?
Let's do that this week. You call and make an appointment, but you can book it sometime this month. Let's knock off some labor. I'm going to take great care of you. I got some great coupons. I'm going to save you some money on coupons. Try us out. 15%
off labor. That's a lot. 2 locations near Evans and I-25. And near Bowles in Santa Fe, just south of it. Why don't you give them a call to find out more? 303-PRO-AUTO. And that's the website, too, with a .com. 303-PROAUTO.com.
This report is brought to you by the Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer.
No delays at all on the highway drive across the
metro area. Right now, a couple of problems off highway.
Mark, do you think we can do it?
Parker Road at I-225 causing delays to avoid that location altogether.
I got faith in you.
And getting reports of crash at 20th and Champa as well. The rest of the drive.
What'd you say? I have faith in you.
I-25 up to
What?
The
These windows.
Just a little
oh, yeah, I'm sure we can.
Side of I-70 in the elevated portion. The weather forecast. Well, about a 50%. 130.
I just thought windows cost more than that.
Tonight, chances of showers continue in the overnight hours with an overnight low of 39. Right now, overcast at 47. With your traffic and weather, I'm Pete Wagner. 6:30 K15.
Busy parent, taking your child's temperature shouldn't be as stressful as fighting through traffic with the Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer. One gentle scan of the forehead is
part of graded 5.
We're that easy. Pick one up at your local club warehouse or other fine retailers.
Are you looking for a beautiful kitchen and you need countertops and cabinets? Think Art of Granite. That's because Mitch Floria is the owner, and he puts his name on it, and he loves everything he does. An American dream he is, coming from Romania with $300 in his pocket, starting this company in 2003. He worked his tail off. Art of Granite actually was born in 05, 2 years after he learned the craft, and the rest, as they say, is history. You never get marked up for any of the granite or counter material. It's wholesale. He charges only for the fabrication and installation and a small markup on cabinets direct from the manufacturer. And then he tears out and hauls away everything free, and whatever you have done in the kitchen at the time, he'll do in the bathroom free. He is open 7 days a week. He serves the metro area and the mountain communities. It all starts with a phone call with some basic measurements, and he gets you a very close estimate so you know if you want to continue. And then when you pick the stuff, the exact stuff you're going to have, he will give you an exact price that won't change. The whole process after you pick the stuff, 1 to 4 weeks, beginning to end, and you will have the Art of Granite. Artofgranite.net, 303-386-5919, 303-386-5919.
Right now, 14 million men are living with prostate cancer. These are our fathers, uncles, sons, brothers, and friends, and me.
Oh, man. What? No, what's that show called where they run through that obstacle course? It's really
Gladiator?
Yeah, Gladiator. When we were in Vegas last time, they were filming it right there. That's where that Route 91 Harvest Festival was.
Save the Males. To learn more and get involved, go to SaveTheMales.org and tag all the men you love.
His brother said he thought he'd just own a couple of handguns.
So did Miles get a home time?
No, Addie went to
Why did Miles go?
His girlfriend and him broke up over the weekend.
Again?
Yeah, well, this time I'm sure it's pretty good. Her parents found a vaporizer thing in her car. No, in fact, the opposite, but she's basically phone gone, grounded. That's a big time no-no for Mormons, you know. Any outside chemical or...
No matter the industry. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
We're so confident ZipRecruiter will get you the results you need. We'll let you try it free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com.
Suzanne, when you get like these heartfelt complaints on Facebook, like employers, employees that haven't been paid, do you copy them down and get in touch with them for the show?
Yeah, Jackie and I, we all message them and line them up.
On Denver's talk station, Truth, 630 KL.
Hi, Tom Martino here. Welcome. We have a challenge in front of us. 19 windows, a house full of windows. Can we beat the price? We are looking into it, and we'll be doing some shopping, and we'll do it live on the air and help this woman out. There was not too much time left to the show to do it in that last half hour, but we will make the deal, and I encourage you to take advantage too. Just email us. Email us live at troubleshooter.com or call us at 303-MARTINO. Hey, Beth, what's happening?
I bought a phone from, or at least a phone from Sprint at the Flatiron Malls, an 8 Plus. It was supposed to have come by Wednesday. Then I was told it was coming Friday. I called yesterday and was told by Sprint customer service that it had been delivered on Friday. The store denies this, and I'm being
Did you pay for it?
No, it's a new lease, but I'm being told by Sprint that they can't send me another phone unless I file a police report, even though I
Did they say it was sent to you?
No, it was sent to the store, but Sprint is telling me I have to file a police report.
Why? It wasn't even yours.
I know. That's what's throwing me off.
Oh, they're lazy, that's why.
They're saying if she wants them to order a new one, she has to file a police report. But
she knows nothing.
What is the police saying? Tell Tom that.
Yeah, I spoke to a police officer yesterday and was told that they cannot take a police report from me because nothing was stolen.
And you're not the victim, exactly. And that's why Sprint's telling you that, because they're lazy and they don't want to. That's why. Why don't you just drop them? Why do you?
I'm trying to, but I can't do that with them. I had an earlier contract, and no one at Sprint will talk to me. All they do is I've been on hold for hours, and they transfer me to another person who starts the investigation
all over again. Listen, I've heard Mark on the phone with customer service sometimes. Yeah. That some of the things that he gets into just makes, I don't even know how he can do it.
It makes me crazy.
Oh my God!
And they're telling me that and it always ends with the same conversation. You have to file a police report. There's nothing else we can do. And there apparently is no supervisor who would have ability.
I'm sure we can get to somebody, but what is your lease status with Sprint? I don't know why you would bother being with them. What is your status?
My status, I had 6 more months on my original lease. I'd like to get out of all of it, but the new lease, I'm most worried about the new lease I just signed because I definitely want out of that since
they can't make you go to a lease. I would call up and cancel. I would call up. You get most action when you call the cancellation department. That's what I saw Mark do one day. He called the cancellation department. They send him over to retention. I heard you do it. I was listening from my desk. And then they start saying, why are you canceling? And they talk to you. That's what I would start. That's the first thing I would do is call and say, I want to cancel.
I've done that.
And
I get the same thing. Well, you can't cancel.
You didn't do it the right way. Because I hear defeat in your voice. You didn't do it the right way. Beth, if you tell them you want to cancel, will they cancel you?
I assume they have to.
Well, then I would cancel then. Cancel.
Okay.
And tell them, you know what? Because of this screw-up, they never delivered on the new lease. You want out of it, you're canceling. And if they try to pop you with any kind of penalty, let me know. We have a comment here. I don't know who this is. Jeff wants a comment on Sprint. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hi, this is Jeff.
Yes, Jeff.
The store that has a giant Sprint sign in Flatirons Mall is not a Sprint store. That is a private cell phone store that sells plans for different people. I went in there with a phone I got from Best Buy for Sprint prepaid, and when I went in there, they did everything but throw something at me because I didn't buy a phone from them.
So where should she go?
They wouldn't even activate a Sprint phone for Sprint service there.
Is there a Sprint?
You got to go to a Sprint store that's really a Sprint store. How the hell do you know which is which? I don't know.
So what do I do now?
I switched to T-Mobile over that whole thing.
Well, if I were you, I would go, listen, you can pick whatever carrier you want, but I would call Sprint, not go to the store, and go through a cancellation. Just cancel and tell them I no longer. And then I want you to report back to us. If you can record it, it would be great. I would like to know what they say. And I've heard this years ago about Sprint. I thought they had gotten better, but maybe their stores suck. But just please try to cancel. Tell them you've been beat up. You no longer want any part of it. And then don't mention anything about a cancellation and see what they say. But if you can, get away from them. I'm Troubleshooter Tom Martino. Don't forget, the RaleighHouse.com, 720-893-5559, 720-893-5559.
Shaker cabinets are the new
cabinets that everyone wants. Hi, this is Courtney Pierce, president of Buy and Build Incorporated. We have 5 of the most popular colors for thousands less than our competitors. From the popular espresso finish to the hottest color bright white, which is
You know, these guys did pretty good, though. They're saying these cops were in there and this guy's